Yeah. This is vibes and stuff. Check it out.
Oops, wrong intro, everybody. Wrong intro, everybody. Sorry, I had it on autoplay. Hold on. Let me reset. I'm human, man. I'm human.
I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fam's on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the result. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was taught with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena on. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the #1 Chief Rocket Knicks Universe, main man, Uncle Freezie, and welcome to the premiere Knicks in the Nighttime joint, the Knicks at Night podcast. Let's go. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm being joined by one of my good friends in life and one of my very good friends in the podcast space, Coach Malpica in the place to be. Coach, what's good, bro?
What's good? Let's go, Knicks.
Let's go. You ready to have the ultimate conversation tonight, bro?
Waffles or pancakes?
Hey, listen, we're not that serious, bro.
Oh, is that wrong? That's not. That's not. You confused me. I thought we were doing vibes for a second.
Yeah, I did say ultimate, bro. I did say ultimate conversation, right? I did say ultimate conversation, so I set myself up for that, man. Yeah, man. So, but yeah, you ready to have the ultimate conversation, man?
Hell yeah. I'm always ready.
Okay. All right, everybody.
I'm off seasoning
them.
Sure.
So tonight we're gonna talk about a few things, man. Some coaching stuff. So we're gonna talk about some coaching stuff, some roster stuff, and some other things. As I try to fix a pair of glasses right here, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Multitasking. Hey, Gorilla Glue is sticky, bro. In case you hadn't known.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But So, Coach, where would you like to begin? Would you like to talk about James Borrega some, or would you like to get right into the roster breakdown and why the coach's search has a heavy input on what this roster will look like and the guys that we choose to make the final roster cut?
I think the next coach will maybe have a tiebreaker type vote, or like say in like some of these end of the roster guys, like depending on what the coach feels he needs for the rest of this roster to help, to help the rest of this roster. Like that's who he'll decide, feel like, we didn't wind up picking up a good mid-level guy or vet minimum point guard. We should just bring back DeLon.
Right.
Or if we do pick up a point guard, they're like, all right, maybe we should bring back Landry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that might, depending on who we scoop up or who. I don't think it's going to be a situation of who we can convince. I really think there's going to be a couple of vets that they've made some money already in the league. They're towards the end of their career.
Yeah.
And they might, they might come to us for nothing. Kind of like what Westbrook did when he went to the Nuggets.
I'll be right.
Yeah. So there was a time where our team, our roster, our organization wasn't a destination where vets wanted to come or go out of the way to come here. But now they see the way things are going and the trajectory and the way things have been trending upward. Now they see what we're all about. They like the other guys on our team, So I think there's going to be a couple of vets that might take a little less money to be a part of it. There's been little murmurs and rumors about reaching out to Al Horford. I think that has two positives. One, he's a respected vet in the league, teammate. He's an NBA champion. He's gone through every level of player in the NBA. He's been an all-star. He's been an aging player. He's changed his game a little bit. He's done a role player, but he's shown that he still has a little gas left in the tank. So would he be a good mentor type guy? Like, he's a fellow Dominican. Him and Cat have a good relationship. That might be good for Cat. He might get in Cat's ear like, hey, young fella, I want to, we need to step it up on D, stop them silly fouls. He might be able to talk to him like that. But I don't think Al Horford's made his money. The only reason he's going to play now at this point is for the love of the game. And maybe he wants to go out a champion. Again, he's going to go out. So, like I said, it's not going to be a huge needle mover. But what I was getting at is there's going to be a vet or two that are going to be willing to take a little less to come to our situation. It hasn't been the case in the past. Now we're a desired destination, especially. That's why I think it might be important to have the new coach before we really start the negotiations for some of these net minimum guys that you might want to convince to come here.
Right.
As far as the other stuff, having a coach isn't a rush as long as we have it before summer league starts. I think it'll be important for the coach to be here when it comes to the negotiations for bringing in the vet minimum guys or a possible mid-level exception guy.
Okay.
And, with that being said, there was reports that Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown got second interviews. And Yuri, what's the name again?
Hey, man.
Yeah. What's up?
You talking about coaching interviews?
No. I thought we were talking. What are we talking about?
You just said coaches 2 coaches had second interviews. That's what you just said. Mike Brown, second interview?
So they're going to be setting up second interviews with them too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's what was reported. League sources.
Okay. How about we do this? How about we look at what the roster? How about we take a look at what we think the roster looks like?
Mm-hmm.
Speculate on who we think the coach that best fits.
All right.
And talk about what we think the Knicks can do in trades and free agency.
All right. That sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, let's do that. Yeah. So this is kind of what the roster is going to look like, everybody. So we don't have everyone, but just wanted to do shout out to the chat real quick. E. Gibson, JM was good. 5 Adam, Keith Turner in the building. Andios was good. Yuri in the building. Tori B in the place to be. Okay. All right. We see y'all, man.
Hey, Miss Tori.
Yeah, man. Oh, Chef NYK is in the building. Salute. So, Coach, when I look at this roster right here, right? When I look at the roster, you know what it looks like to me? Ivory 10 is in the building. Salute. When I look at the roster, you know what this looks like to me automatically?
What?
The Knicks need a backup point guard.
Yep.
That's what it looks like to me off rip. The first thing I see is that the Knicks need a backup point guard. I'm gonna make the font a little smaller, just a fraction smaller, so that we can.
All right.
Get all of this on the screen. So this is what. So there's Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
And if Tyler Kolek is situational, then we don't have a bench point guard or a back end rotation point guard.
Right.
You know what this also looks like to me? The Knicks need a starting caliber ball handler in the lineup with Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
Right. So and I know fans are gonna say, I do understand that fans are gonna say that the Knicks need a power forward. And I don't know another way to emphasize this. But depending on the coach that you get, coaches don't use power forwards no more. Right? You don't need a 6'10" brick wall that's going to knock down mid-ranges and grab you 11 rebounds. Right? Today's offenses are too fast. They play with too much space and pace for you to put another cloggy person on the court with your center. When your defense has 2 cloggy players in it, you're going to be mad the entire time that second cloggy person is not scrambling to the corners on 3-point shots at 255 pounds.
Right.
Or 250 pounds. Right.
You know what I noticed on your thing there, Freezie?
Yes, sir.
Technically, we're waiting on the team option for PJ, but I guess we're both PJ Tucker. I guess we're assuming we're not going to pick.
Oh, PJ Tucker. I forgot about PJ Tucker. I have to add him.
But he's I don't know. He's not. His option hasn't been picked up, so I guess he would be like a rights until we pick it up. I don't know, but that's up to you. How you want to? Because he's not technically on the roster till we pick up his option, but he does have a team option.
Oh my God! Come on, Excel.
Took the color away.
I just have to type it.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Would you like to see PJ Tucker come back?
You know, if some of the other situations, signing a vet minimum guys, like nothing's worth getting. He's a back of the roster guy that it's not like he's going to be. I mean, he can still be put in a trade, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But he can still shoot threes, and he's still tough. You know what I'm saying? So realistically though, if it came down to him or one of the young guys possibly sneaking in on the roster, I'd rather have one of the young guys.
Right. Right. So we drafted Diawara in that slotting where you can put him on a two-way deal.
Right.
Right. What I would say if we have everyone listed, if we have all of the important pieces listed, I'll put it that way. If all the important pieces are listed here, there are some that we're not going to be able to cover because, quite frankly, some of these guys are some of the names you hear over the next week or so are going to be Exhibit 10 guys, which means they'll go to training camp and get cut, basically. And we'll keep their rights for the G League team. I think the immediate need is twofold.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you.
The immediate need is, or I'll tell you where we have the most depth. We have the most depth at the center position.
Yeah.
With Cat, Mitch, Huck Porty. That's a three-person rotation. Now, will that be the rotation on opening night? We don't know. Huck Porty still may be the fourth center, right? Huck Porty may be the what's the name? Fourth center. We don't know that yet because we don't know what veterans are going to be available through free agency and trade for the money that we have available.
Right.
Right. So with that said, I would say this. A big ball handler is a must. We tried the Mikal Bridges experiment in Tom Thibodeau's offense, and it didn't work.
Pause.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, pause. Big time. Right? Deuce McBride is not going to be that guy. Deuce is more of a shooter.
Right.
He's not that guy. So to go out and get a big ball handler, now, does that person have to start? I'm not for sure. I'm thinking the next coach is going to come in and run a 9-man rotation.
Right.
And for the most part, we have 7 guys, starters and bench, 7 guys listed. The question is, does somebody make it off of that rotational list, that rights list, or that fringe list to enter the rotation?
Right.
Are the Knicks confident in will someone impress the new coach enough to get into that 9-man rotation?
I mean, you would hope so. I mean, it's possible. A lot of guys jump up from year 1 to year 2.
Right.
Their confidence, something happens.
Play style, coach play style.
Yeah. Especially someone that's like Dottier's age. I mean, he came in as a baby. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He might have physically matured even more this past season. Sometimes something just clicks,
Right.
just one of these guys, young guys, that's listed under the situational and rights. Maybe some of them are the type that just needs a chance. They just need to be given an opportunity. And that's it. You know?
Okay. See, here's the thing, right? If you shuffle the starters around in unnatural positions to fit a guy, that means the fitted sheet theory. For instance, if Mikal Bridges becomes a ball handler, OG Anunoby is the primary wing defender, you move Cat to the 4, that means you have to get a starting center. And that means if Mitchell Robinson is now your starting center, you have to have a veteran big off the bench, right? You have to have a veteran big because even though Huck Porty is talented, he's inexperienced. How do you gain experience? By playing. But you don't play in high leverage moments. You go get a veteran to play in high leverage moments and then have Huck Porty slowly but surely overtake him as the third big. Say for instance, you bring Precious back, right? And Precious is the big. The understanding has to be during the year that Precious will get the lion's share of the minutes initially for the third big. By the end of the season, Ariel Huck Porty will get the lion's share of the minutes towards the end of the season because he's the future of New York Knicks basketball.
Right. Or James Najee. You never know.
I honestly think this is just me speculating. I've never seen him play in an NBA game, but I think James Najee is a better overall prospect than Ariel Huck Porty. And this is no knock on Ariel Huck Porty because I also like Airport also, right? I just think James Najee's defense will keep him on the floor versus the offensive flexibility and occasional shot blocking that Ariel Huck Porty offers.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, it's good to have options.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you go to the club. I made this analogy earlier today. You go to the club, you want to maybe go home with a nice young lady. Your chances get better to hit if you talk to more than just one or two of them.
Yeah.
Same thing with all these rooks and young guys. You don't know what you got till you have them all play and see what happens. See who wants to take it over, who wants to win the job. Let the competition begin.
Yeah.
Sometimes, competition brings out, the cream rising to the top situation.
Yeah.
When you got guys that are in the bottom of the bench and they don't feel like no matter what they do in practice, they can't get a chance. It's discouraging. But now these guys they see how the roster's made up right now. There's about 2 or 3 spots for these young kids, and whoever wants it, step up.
See, even in this situation here where maybe Deuce McBride is the starter next to Jalen Brunson, right? I'm not saying this is where I want to go, right? I'm not saying that this is the move I want to make. What I'm saying is potentially. Right. Deuce McBride is the starter. What that means is now you have to add a wing player and a point guard to your bench.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, either way, we need both those players.
Right. Yeah. Do you have any solutions? Do you know what the free agency market looks like?
You know, I've really combed through this a lot. And, you know, Dante Exum has been kind of standing out to me a little bit as a possibility. You know, he made $3 million $3.1 million last year. So he falls in that, wheelhouse of the money.
Yeah.
He's a point guard. Now, he's kind of drifted away from in the last couple of years from being the pure point or, the facilitator on the teams he's been on. He's been kind of being a pseudo wing kind of, because his size dictates that. How tall was he?
6'6".
Yeah, so he kind of scratches a couple of itches for us. Like in some moments, he can be a secondary ball handler, I think, and he can also fill a wing role once in a while. So I think we have to be realistic. I know he's not a sexy name, but these are the kind of guys that we got to think about.
Right.
It's easy to say, I want Boucher or Trey Mann Trey Mann's already. Did he do something already?
Who? Trey Mann?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the other man.
Terrence Mann got traded.
Terrence Mann, yeah, he was part of that deal. But the Bobby Portises and the Karis LeVert, D'Lo, some of those guys are a little bit out of our range, money wise.
Yeah.
Malik Beasley. It's so we got to be realistic with that. So, that's when you kind of scroll down lower on the list and you look at guys that have had some level of some success at certain positions and see if they get an opportunity of having some more responsibility again. They might show you something.
Can I show you the guy that I would like just for the sake of your point?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna show Coach who I like, everybody, and y'all know sometimes I'm ahead of the curve and sometimes I'm a stubborn mule. Right? I've been doing this for like 4 years with y'all, and y'all already know. Sometimes I'm way ahead of the curve. Like, yo, the Knicks need to pick Pacom Dadier, and then the Knicks pick Pacom Dadier, right? Sometimes I'm a stubborn mule. Like, man, the Knicks need to draft Ryan Dunn, and the Knicks don't draft Ryan Dunn, and it's like a thorn in my craw.
Yeah.
Right? What I'm about to show you is one of these moments where I can be a stubborn mule, right? This is the guy I'd like the Knicks to explore and getting.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Delano Banton, point guard, Portland. This is what Hoops Hype says about him. Lead guard with fantastic size at 6'9", solid playmaker and slasher, and his three-point shooting, a former weakness, has really improved this season, which should up his free agent value. Right? Now, Coach, what a Delano Banton type signing would do is it answers two things at once. It gives you the athletic wing size at point guard / wing. Because 6'9", 6'9" is even tall for a wing player, right? 6'9" is extremely tall for a point guard.
Yeah,
now,
man.
he's a lead guard, which means he can create offense for Jalen Brunson, who I'm not saying Jalen Brunson should take less shots. I'm talking about usage rate.
Right.
Dribble. And then when something's there, you kick it out to Mikal Bridges with 4 seconds left, and he misses the shot. And we're like, why is Mikal Bridges missing shots? There's no flow to your offense.
Right.
One guy had the ball 20 seconds. Right? This guy, to me, is what's the Golden State point guard, the 6'7" point guard they had? Sean Livingston. This is the Sean Livingston type championship level big guard that you need. The reason why he hasn't popped, first of all, he came out, he was young. Secondly, and probably most importantly, is when you constantly play for either a championship team or a lottery team, you don't really get a chance to grow, because even though you're on a championship team, you get the experience, but you don't get to play.
Right.
When you're on a lottery team, you get to play, but maybe subpar coaching and subpar talent on the court with you doesn't improve your stock. Right? A guy like Delano Banton is the perfect type player to bring in for the Knicks, who need a secondary playmaker even when Jalen Brunson is on the floor. Right? Even when Deuce McBride is on the floor. And what I would offer to you as a Knicks fan, consider this. A tall point guard playing beside Deuce McBride off the bench. Now Deuce can do what comes natural. He can create a little bit and play off the ball a little bit.
Right.
As opposed to being the primary responsible guy when he's out there.
I like it. I remember when you first mentioned him, I looked into that.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the year, he got some run.
Yeah.
And he had a 20-point game where he was 5 of 7 from 3. 23-point game with 5 rebounds and 6 assists and 2 steals against the Pacers.
Right. Right. And if you're the Knicks, think about this. If you're the Knicks, just by adding Delano Banton to your rotation, it takes you from being one of the shortest rotations in the NBA to about average size or bigger. Right? You go from just by him replacing Josh Hart in a lineup. I'm not saying starting or bench. What I'm saying is Banton is at the table, Josh Hart is subbed out, and Banton comes in, and this is what you have automatically. You go from Brunson 6'2", Hart 6'4", Bridges 6'6", OG 6'7", to Brunson 6'2", Banton 6'9", Bridges 6'6", OG 6'7", Cat 7 foot.
Yeah.
Right. And this is just one free agent signing, everybody. This is one guy. My dream offseason, if it could happen this way, would be Delano Banton and Ben Simmons. Right? If you add Delano Banton and Ben Simmons, then now you add 2 playmaking type guards, right? That both have excellent size defensively. Right? If you can get them for cheap.
Right. Did you hear about, Kevin Porter Jr. turned down his player option?
That's interesting.
Yeah. It just happened, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
And he only made $2.6 something million last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 6'4", combo guard. He's got a 6'9" wingspan, I think, and he's been a bucket in the league. He's scored some points in this league. I mean,
yeah, he scored some points in this league, bro.
I mean, when he was with the Rockets a couple of years ago, didn't he average 19 a game or something?
Him and Jayshawn Tate, remember that?
Yeah.
Jayshawn Tate. Is Jayshawn Tate still in the league?
I gotta look. But he only played 30 games. Did he get hurt last year?
I don't know.
I gotta look into that. But he shot 41% from 3 last year.
Wow. Wow.
And he averaged 11.7 points in only 20 minutes a game.
I would love it if he came off the bench for us because he's a bucket.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell him to shoot.
That's pretty intriguing. It's something I'd look into. I didn't even know he was I knew he was. They were waiting on the player option for him.
Right.
I mean, he's had a weird up and down, but hey, that's how these guys look. That's the story. If some of these guys with this is how you get value on talent. Like guys that had something questionable happen, or might have had an injury thing. Like, you think Lonzo Ball is only a $10 million a year player, talent-wise?
Nah.
Hell no.
Nah.
The only reason why he's $10 million is because his injury history.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And, Porter looks like he's missed some games here and there. I got to look into why. But when he plays, he's a bucket.
Right.
And he's still only 24, 25 years old.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 25. And he's already played 1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 5. Yeah, he's played 5 years in the league already.
Yeah, he was suspended a year, right?
I think so.
Because he was in the RJ draft. I think he was the last pick in the RJ draft. So. Yeah.
Hey, let's go get Josh Primo.
Well, yeah.
They finally let him back around, but he hasn't gotten a chance to do something yet.
Yeah. I would say this. Depending on who the coach is, if it's Mike Brown, I'm definitely looking for offense. Offensive IQ guys that know how and when to pass, right? Guys that are unselfish, that would share the ball, right? And then depend on your defensive guys to clean up everything, right? Depend on Mikal Bridges and OG and Mitch to wipe up the floor.
Right.
Now, with Mike Brown, you're going to win games 124, 117, right? And if you don't like that, then you don't like winning.
Right.
Right. That's the thing. That's the thing. Right. Ultimately, if Taylor Jenkins is the guy, then you're gonna have size at every position. Pause. Right. You're gonna have size at every position. Right. And so you're gonna get a switching defense and a slashing offense. And you're going to play with pace.
Right.
Either way you go, if you get Taylor Jenkins or Mike Brown, the Knicks are going to run. The Knicks are going to run. Just get used to that.
Yeah.
Get used to OG Anunoby somewhere around 18 points and Mikal Bridges somewhere around 19 points a game. Right? Because the Knicks are going to run and try to get more possessions if it's Mike Brown, if it's Taylor Jenkins. Diversified offense. let's flip it the other way.
I think Banton could be a starter for this group.
Mm.
We all of a sudden go from kind of small lineup to a tall lineup real quick.
Real quick. You?
Salute, fellas. Salute, Coach.
Dre.
Salute, Freezie. Salute to the chat.
So do you think Delano Banton could be a starter, coach?
Yeah, I think so. It's no disrespect to Deuce or. I mean, look, we've seen many championship teams where the fifth starter is just. Sometimes he's a guy that he might not finish the game. You know, so a starter is very. I don't want to say it's overrated, but it's just like being the closer is more important. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, we've seen Bulls teams, some of the best teams ever, where they've started Luke Longleys and Bill Wenningtons, you know, guys like that. You know, Bruce Bowen was a starter. I mean, he was a great defender, but and he started shooting some threes here and there. But like when you have the four starter level guys that we have, I mean, you can plug and play any young player there, and they're going to flourish. In my opinion, Drip more in the house.
The Delano Banton starting thing, I hadn't envisioned it. I'm not saying that I disagree, right? You know how sometimes we speak and sometimes it's like everybody's so combative. Why everybody's disagreeing? I'm thinking, I was legit thinking of him as a role player. I did not fix my mind to think that man could be a starter. But if the new coach is willing to try it, I'm not against it. So
I guess the idea of like the fifth starter, because we already have four guys set in stone in terms of guys we've invested in or spent a lot to get. I think the idea of the fifth starter doesn't necessarily have to be a guy that makes 20 million in Josh Hart's case, or a guy that makes very little money in Deuce's case. I think it's more of about who's a situational fit, who fits in a specific archetype of player. Like, to be absolutely honest, who you want in your fifth starter should be able to be at least or attempt to be an above average defender and an average 3-point shooter, or at least one that you have to respect. That's
and be
basically
healthy, a guy that stays healthy.
Well, yeah,
Right.
of course, yeah.
And healthier than your starters, right? Healthier than, because you're in theory you're going to want to load manage guys, and that fifth starter on some nights has to be your fourth, third, second best player, whether it's a shooting slump, injury, exotic scheme, whatever it is. You'd like for him to be.
I think
Role
more
flexible.
availability, absolutely. I don't know if they have to be my fourth best player, because I'm gonna keep it a buck. Remember, we have four guys that have dropped 40 points in the game last season at some point. Even
Yeah.
missing one or two of them, they have the ability to step up and be enough scoring as a combination of the two, right? I think more or less the availability just to be a body. Because like I seen Alonzo Ball trade, and on paper, he's probably the ideal fit, but he's played 35 games, missed season, 35 games, missed the season. So I need, like, and he's not a guy that you would think is going to be like the fourth or fifth best player on the Cavs, nor are they expecting him to. But even with injury, if he was healthy, he's not going to be that guy. It's more of the availability that I absolutely agree with you, Freezie. I don't know if that guy that you stick in like a Delano Bland type would step in and automatically be your third or second best player.
Yeah, no, he's just
this is that, but that's in that context. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Just trying to understand.
Okay, so the night Jalen Brunson rolls his ankle, and goes to the locker room mid-game, second quarter, right? You would expect Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns to be your top 3 players.
Yeah.
Which would mean Delano Banton would be your 4th best player in a situation like that. Well, I'm not saying that you expect him to be better than Deuce, but what he offers gives you more flexibility than Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride is a 6'1" wing player that sometimes shoots the 3 well. The season before last, he shot 40% from 3. Last year, he shot 36.9, 37%.
Yeah.
You would expect a 6'1" guard to have a better 3-point percentage than 37% in order to be in the NBA if they're not a flat-out scorer. If you're not a flat-out bucket and you don't shoot 40% from 3 and your defense is not elite, or you're not a passer or a offensive mismatch, then you gotta shoot 40% from 3 in order to exist. And historically, Deuce McBride is not a good 3-point shooter. He had 1 season of 40%, and all the other seasons are
right.
I'd say I believe last year he still shot like 40% on catch and shoots, but as a small guard, as you said, you need to have a little bit more to your game than to just be a catch and shoot guy at 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah.
Like at that height, you need to be able to put it on the floor and get your own bucket whenever you
That's the point that I'm getting at right there that you just mentioned. If you're a 6'1", 6'2", and you're not a walking bucket and not a 3-point shooter and an elite defender or not an elite passer,
what you're basically saying is you need optionality, and with a guy like Delano Blanton, he can shapeshift into what you need based on who's on the court with him.
Right. Like, who knew? Like, and be real, because you can say, "Oh, I knew after the fact." When Kawhi Leonard was picked 15th
by Indiana,
and he ended up on a team. Now, granted, they were already in the midst of, they already won some, you know what I'm saying, the Spurs, but he was not counted on scoring or nothing. He was counted for nothing, like some defense when he first came there. They counted on him for some defense. You look at Kawhi Leonard in his 3rd season in the NBA, he still only averaged 12.8 points in his 3rd season.
Yeah.
And, you got guys like Danny Green starting, Boris Diaw, Thiago Splitter, Corey Joseph started games on that team. Like, when you have a core group of guys that are ballers, I mean, you had Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, they had guys entrenched already, and he walked into a great situation where he didn't have to have the pressure being counted on.
He was actually the stone that the builder refused. If you look at that team, Kawhi Leonard is actually what they needed in a post Steven Jackson, Bruce Bowen era.
Right?
Because Kawhi Leonard gave you what Bruce Bowen and Steven Jackson gave, except he did it in one person, and he did it better than those players did it in their prime.
Right.
So he's a better offensive player than Steven Jackson and better defender, and he's a better defender than Bruce Bowen. And Bruce Bowen was a better corner 3-point shooter, but you get what I'm saying. Cash, stay coming in the thing, man.
Remodel in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Cash putting them pots and pans up.
Yeah, he's hiding that cash in some of the in the crock pot.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I didn't know y'all was hearing that.
Man. Yeah.
No, but and what I'm saying, look, I'm not saying Blanton is the next Kawhi Leonard or nothing, but it's the same mentality. You got a young player. He was young. He started there when he was 20, and they just plugged him in with some established star, red veterans, and he started to flourish slowly but surely. They didn't, hide him on the bench and let him earn his way in the game, and so there's something to that. We've seen that on a lot of teams where there was a lot of good players and there was a new young buck and he slid him in there until eventually it was his team when the old dudes stepped away.
Yeah.
They allowed him to develop, but he also put in the work as well, because guys typically don't go from, to be absolutely honest, he's the same outlier trajectory that Giannis had, basically. Drafted 15. Like, you got to put in the work at a certain point to even get to a fraction of how good he became.
Yeah. I mean, even, let's be real, Jimmy Butler wasn't a bucket. He was a hustle guy and a high
IQ basketball player.
He eventually, you look at some of his stats his first few years, they weren't too great. Shooting percentages and all that stuff. A lot of guys come in with raw talent, but the ones that are consummate professionals, they put in the work, they train in the off season, they put up shots in the gym.
The right work as well, because I'm still seeing Mitch Robinson put up jumpers in the offseason, putting up 3-point shots, knowing damn well he's not bringing that to the regular season. It's the right work. Like, you could even attribute that to like guys like Pascal Siakam, who like picked up a basketball late in life, period.
Yep.
And every year you see them add more and more, to the point the Pascal we see today is absolutely nothing like we saw 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, everything you guys are talking about and encompassing in the conversation as regards these players is development. It's an involvement of their game. And, the key for all of them, as their physical tools develop, their mental outlook also developed and also strengthened as well. And, in seeing the evolution of players, such as Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, others that you guys have mentioned, it's great. It's nice. And I hope that some of those that we have on our squad now pop off like that. Either now or in time. We've seen the evolution of Deuce, of where he's come, and question. There may be some questions. Does he have any upside left? I mean, we don't know. That remains to be seen. But I like, as a team, where we stand right now in retrospect, that we are in a good place with whom we already have. Blanton, I haven't done a deep dive on him. I did see a little information on him. He could. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I will have to do some homework on Blanton, but we'll see what happens.
He's like a jack of all trades, master of none type of wing.
Yeah.
My only reservation on him is he hasn't necessarily improved his jumper necessarily enough. So, like, if you were to throw him in with the starters, he'd essentially get guarded the same way Josh Hart does, except he's still like 6'9". So,
the difference between he and Josh Hart, though, is
he can handle the ball a little bit better.
He can handle the ball. He's a great passer for his size. You rarely see guys 6'9" be able to anticipate and throw passes like that. Even the elite wing players over the years have been stat padding wing types, like transition assists, right? My thing is with Banton over Josh Hart is Banton can guard the point of attack, which lets Bridges guard wings, which allows OG to guard wings and place in the field, play free safety, right? With Josh Hart on the floor, Josh Hart is not going to be the point of attack, not going to be the wing defender, not wing defender and zoning up. Josh Hart is going to be on a box covering the corner three. Regardless what coach you get, they're going to put Josh on that box, right? And what Knicks fans call the power forward box, right? Like we love saying power forward, like it's 1993, right? Josh is not going to have any of that positional defensive flexibility. As a matter of fact, Josh is going to hunt the mismatch in transition and look weird guarding Porzingis in the half court, praying for a switch, right? That's Josh. With Banton, though, you can put him on the other team's ball handler, which frees up Brunson and Bridges and OG, right? And then when you consider scrums, shot in the air, guys that are hot. Give an example. When we were having Deuce scramble to the corner to guard, Coach, what's the 3-point shooter from Detroit? Remember the one everybody keep bringing, Malik Beasley? Is that him?
Yeah, Malik Beasley.
Yeah, Beasley.
When you get Deuce scrambling out to contest Malik Beasley, you're like, for what? Because a jump shooter is going to have his arms extended, and even if Deuce extends his arms and jump, he's still not going to be able to contest. Yeah. And that's not a knock on Deuce, right? It's just Deuce should be guarding 6'1" to 6'3" guys, right? And not guarding dudes on the wing. But you add Banton, and all of a sudden, you free up a lot of guys to do other stuff, which you don't know how good Mikal Bridges could be for us, because the 1 year he was here, Tom Thibodeau played him like he played Quentin Grimes. Hey, dog, run through these screens all night. I'll holler at you. Yeah. Am I saying Banton's a start? I don't know, Coach. You'd have to convince me on the starting part. I do think Banton could be a solid 15 to 18 minute per night guy. I think that's a lot. I think that's ambitious, right? I would think like maybe 12 minutes a night. But the more I look at a 6'9" guard, the more I'm like, man, I really wish the Knicks would get that guy and play him.
Right. Hey, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in here. I mean, like I said, I haven't done a deep dive on Blanton, so I really don't know, as far as his strengths, weaknesses, and things of that nature. The one guy that I'm enamored with right now, whom we just got, I mean, he's got a ways to go. I mean, he definitely ain't a rotational piece right now. That's Dink P. I think we got to keep her, going forward. I mean, he's got a lot of developing to do. But I in the interview I've seen of him, I like his mindset, and
Cash, this dude ain't a rotational play. Hey, we got to.
No, I just said that he's not a rotational player. He's got a long way to go. I mean, right now he's just trying to make it. But what I'm saying is he has potential.
We were talking about guys that we want to add to the rotation, though.
Yeah. Right now, I would probably, if I had to make a choice, if you question me right now, if I had to make a choice between Blanton and say Ben Simmons, because I know that name came up, I probably would have to go with Ben Simmons. Right now, I would have to take Ben Simmons. Now, the salary wise, I don't know how all that is going to construct, but
salary wise, you can grab both.
Yeah. But I would go with Ben Simmons. I mean, we know because Ben Simmons can defend, he can handle the ball, he could still go to the rack,
He
but
can
you know
rebound.
he can't hit the he can't hit wow, he can't hit nothing on the outside. We know that already.
Josh Hart with defense, right? He's Josh Hart with defense and size, except Josh
Yeah,
Hart.
yeah, in size, yes, yeah, and all the things you mentioned about defending at the point of attack and those closeouts. Oh, he's definitely there on that. So
Yeah, and the thing with me saying he can probably start, it's assuming it's just the archetype. I mean, like what he presents, size wise, skill wise. If he gets that opportunity, to show he can play, then yeah, he could be someone that could start. Like we can't say that about Deuce or Josh because they're not growing anymore.
yeah,
They're not gonna all of a sudden come back from summer and like Deuce has had 2 seasons now to come back from the summer and have handles and pass better. And he hasn't done it. So, Josh has had 2 seasons to come back and shoot the ball better and defend people driving by his behind better and letting cutters run behind him and things like that. Like he's 30. You think he's going to change anymore? Nope.
No.
So when I say things like that, I say the same thing. I said the same thing about Pacome Dadier. Pacome Dadier has the bag and the size and the skill set to start with these guys when he becomes, when he shows he's ready. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and that's what I mean when you get some of these taller wings.
because my only concern with Ben Simmons, as we all know, is one, his availability, and two, his mental. He's got to buy in. So those would be my 2 concerns with Ben Simmons. Other than that, I think he would be a better fit than Blanton at this point.
My concern is 'cause there are a lot of guys out there, and there's a lot of names floated. I'm not for sure if we know the exact amount of money the Knicks will have available. Dre, do you know the exact amount of money the Knicks will have available to them?
I just know the exceptions that we have available to us, which is 3 roster spots right now left open. We have the second round exception, which is second round, like you can pay a guy second rounder contract. You have the minimum exception, and we have the taxpayers MLE. My belief is that if we use the taxpayers MLE, we hard cap ourselves under the second apron. And I don't believe we're going to use it. We're probably just going to fill out the rest of our roster with guys we drafted or vet minimums, if I had to be absolutely honest with you.
Technically, we only have 10 on the roster.
I'm making the assertion that we're going to sign Kevin McCullough to a standard deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember,
11.
Yeah.
And then
PJ
that makes
Tucker's
me at least
deal
3
is
more.
PJ Tucker's deal is non-guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm not counting Tucker.
You're not counting? Okay, because I was going to say they can let him go and restructure that.
Yeah, no, he technically his team option has not been picked up yet officially.
Right.
Okay.
If they
All
do
right.
pick it up, they'll use it to trade him. Probably.
We have till tomorrow too. By the way, it's June 29th tomorrow. Right?
No. We have ample time to just cut him and him not really affect us.
Okay.
There's a lot of time for us to cut him.
Okay.
We're probably gonna hold out for a long time. Like his contract is not guaranteed at any point.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes everything easier because that means we don't have to count his money.
No, we can
Right.
we can throw him in a trade. If a trade doesn't manifest itself, we could just cut him.
Yeah.
Like right now, without signing McCullough yet, we're 356,000 over the first apron. and we're 11.5 million from the second apron. So that means
11 million, and we're probably gonna.
we have 5 roster spots.
And Kevin McCullough, we have this. We can put the second round tender on him, which is a lot cheaper than the minimum. It's
Yeah,
about cheaper by $1 million. Depends how we handle a Huck Porter. He's probably gonna get a cheap contract.
Yeah.
And whatever between our options in terms of guys we're gonna bring along is gonna be vet minimum guys.
right,
But that doesn't necessarily mean they're vet minimum performance. Like there's not a lot of
right.
teams with cap space. Actually, there's only one. There's the New Jersey Nets. So they're the only team with cap space. And basically, we're probably targeting guys that could make more money in the open market next season. And they might be guys that would come here to try to bolster their profile and try to get paid for the following season on playing on a winning team. Think how Tyus Jones went to the Suns trying to inflate his value for the following offseason, and it didn't work necessarily for him.
Yeah.
Even though teams offered him more than the minimum, he thought the Suns were an out to get, number one, a starting position, number two, the opportunity to make more money in the following season, and it just didn't work out for him.
Right.
But those are the same opportunities we can offer another player on the market. Like, for instance, Gary Trent. If we promise Gary Trent Jr., you can start here, he'd probably take the gander or the risk of not necessarily making a whole lot of money because I believe he was on a minimum last year.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, yeah, the options are minimum guys, but it isn't like the typical minimum that was the case 5-6 years ago, where it was an actual bum off the
So let me
street.
do this. So let me do this though. Let me establish a baseline so that everyone can follow along with the conversation. When you guys talk about roster improvements and guys that you like, are you basing it on what an average NBA team looks like? Are you basing it on the Tom Thibodeau era and what the Knicks looked like during the Tibbs era the past 5 years? Or are you projecting it in a way that's malleable and moldable, though you may still have answers after the coach's name? Like, where are
I'm
y'all
I'm
at?
I'm projecting it from the point of view of a coach coming here, and like we're basically viewing it from a point of view of what another coach would do in terms of having opportunity to give guys to play. Like, for instance, if we would have had the same situation last year, we probably would be a less attractive destination to a fringe rotational player because it's harder to just make it in a Tom Thibodeau rotation. It just is, and players more or less don't like Tibbs. At least if we go by the polling that they put out.
Yeah.
If we put another coach in this scenario, we're basically falling closer to the mean of the NBA and what normal teams are looked at in terms of destinations or normal contenders.
Right.
And that would make us a little bit more attractive for a guy that's just floating out there looking for a home. To
Right.
me, anyway. I'm not viewing it from the perspective of Tom Thibodeau coaching his team or Tom Thibodeau. Well, because Tibbs had input on these rosters, to be absolutely honest.
Right.
So I'm not looking at
So
it
you're
from
not
that point of
basing
view.
it on past performance. You're looking at what the guys are and what they can be,
Yeah,
not how they were used in the past. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But like to give you an example, the Raptors, for some reason, they re-signed and picked up Garrett Temple's $3.6 million option
Yeah.
at 39 years old.
Yeah. That's a leadership play because he's an excellent leader. It's the same thing Orlando did last year with Gary Harris. Like they re-signed him because he's what he does off Taj Gibson. Like what they do off the
Right.
floor is just as important as what these guys do on the floor. Can he still play? Yeah, he can play. But he's like the dude. What's the LeBron? Yeah, I remember the LeBron stopper, the chubby kid, the 6'7" chubby kid said he was the LeBron stopper, and people kept giving him 1 year deals.
Who are we talking? Who was the run stopper?
The dude from Boston College, Jared Dudley.
Oh, Jared Dudley.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
People kept signing. They kept signing him because of what he does off the floor to help your team, like the vet presence. You know what I'm saying? So Herb Williams, like
Yeah,
what they do off the floor.
but for a team that's pressed up against the apron, we can't make a decision like that on a PJ Tucker.
No, not us.
Yeah, we need that spot for somebody.
Yeah.
We ain't got time to do the James Johnson thing like Indiana did.
Maybe you can do Delano Benton and Al Horford.
Well, it is that the news is saying that we are looking at Al Horford, and it would make sense because of his relationship with Cat. So
Yeah.
and he can actually double as a decent back end rotation guy.
And he can play your 4 or your 5, mostly 4.
While being a veteran.
Yep.
Being a good locker room guy.
A decent 3-point shooter.
I think he's a little bit better than decent.
Yeah, yeah.
He probably statistically would probably be one of our best 3-point shooters as of last year.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah. Al Horford can't be your starter though. That's the thing.
And he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be. He could be one of your 4 bigs that you rotate through.
Yeah. See,
but we're in this conversation. We're looking like who could be in this particular spot that can just fit in at that guard / wing as a starter.
Dre, I don't want to be in that spot.
And to be absolutely honest, that guy may not exist.
I don't want to be in that spot that you just mentioned. Can I tell you why?
Why?
The reason why I don't want to be in that spot is because I think the team has not shown its full potential. I think the team legit was a size 13 foot crammed inside and a size 11 shoe. Right? That's what I think happened. Right? I think that's what happened. Tom Thibodeau wasn't willing to change a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And things of that sort. So you got guys like Mikal Bridges playing as if he's Quentin Grimes. Right? You have OG Anunoby on offense playing like RJ Barrett. Right? You didn't get to see creative things. Like you didn't see nuances of the game, like 2 offensive players on our offense attack 1 defensive player without the basketball. Right? Without the basketball. Right? Like say, who's the best defensive player? Let's say Wembyana's at the rim. Right? We didn't attack him baseline and attack him coming across the free throw line at the same time, making him commit so that you could pass the ball to whoever's open. Because our offense was dribble, find a mismatch, hit a tough contested shot all game long. That was our offense, right? The new coach, for one, we've been taught, everybody in the chat, y'all know this to be true. As soon as I say it, everybody's going to be like, yo, you know what? That's right. I got taught that as far back as 8th grade. On long rebounds, you run, right? Any rebound over the other team's center's head, you run, you sprint to the other side of the floor because they don't have traditional rim protection.
Right.
In theory, a rim protector should not be faster in foot speed than your wings and guards, traditionally. Now, some things are going to happen, right? But with us, we would get long rebounds, and Jalen Brunson you're like, nah, bro.
We trying to set up offense and walk the ball up like it's 2000, not even 2000, like it's 1997.
Yes.
And every other team that you see out there besides us are moving the ball up as early as possible, probing to see if there's easier offense, then getting into their offense.
Yeah, because the thing is easy. It's easy, right? If me, Dre, and Coach are on the floor, and I grab a long rebound, and Dikembe Mutombo is 8 feet behind me, right? first thing I'm doing is looking to go up the floor, right? As soon as I see coach fan out to the corner three, right? If I can get that ball to coach from the corner three, I'm passing that ball 50 feet up the floor to coach in the corner. If it's not there, that means Dre is running the lane straight down the thing, looking to throw that thing down somebody's throat, right? And usually when you have two guys back, most NBA teams that have an attacking guard, that means the other guard is a shooter and responsible for stopping the ball in transition, right? Like guards are doing. If a guard goes to the rim, somebody else is supposed to rotate behind, right? But if he goes to the rim and misses some long rebound, right, then getting that ball up the floor is the priority. We didn't do that. I saw with my own eyes against the Washington Wizards, Deuce McBride screamed down Pacom Dadier, hey, to get the ball so he can walk it up the floor. I saw y'all remember the game that Mikal Bridges jump center. I mean, not jump center, but was in the starting lineup and first dead ball, he came out the game. Y'all remember that game?
Yep.
Yeah, it was against
that was the Wizards, right?
I think so.
Whoever it was, Dadier had the ball twice, and Deuce McBride sprinted 30 feet all the way, screaming at Pacom Dadier, hey, so he can get the ball.
And that's not Deuce doing it on his own accord. That is a product of what the coach prioritized.
Coaching, right? That's coaching. But the fundamental basketball play is anytime the ball bounces over the center's head and you get it, you got to run, right? Because for one, it's shorter distance.
And nobody's back there to protect the rim.
And nobody's back to protect it. You got to run, but we never attack that. We get the ball to Brunson, then they bring over Aaron Nesmith or who else? The Thompson kid, or Drew Holiday, or whoever, slow Brunson all the way down, make Brunson work the ball up. Now, by that time, their defense is set up. Now we have to attack a set defense.
And that's partially to do it because we value not live ball turnovers. We value them, but we don't practice how to create early offense to avoid turnovers in that same process.
Right.
And if you look around the league, yeah, OKC and the Pacers thrive in transition, but they also take care of the ball.
Yeah.
So Tom Thibodeau doesn't necessarily believe that you can do both.
Right.
And we can, say like we may need another ball handler, but the ball is always faster than the man. If you have the right structure, it doesn't necessarily matter what you're doing in terms of skill set.
Right.
And I believe, as you said, we're a size 13 in the size 11 shoe.
Right.
And with all of that, we made it 2 games to the finals, while being, to be absolutely honest, like
handcuffed.
Yeah, just underperforming to our skill set.
Yeah.
And we became Jalen Bunyan.
And I believe Jalen Brunson is the ultimate just soldier. He will follow the orders no matter who's out there.
Yeah.
And if you gave him the particular structure to thrive, like for instance, if Rick Carlisle was a coach, he'd just do everything Rick Carlisle asked of him.
Yeah.
And I think Brunson isolates a lot because that's what's asked of him.
Right.
You got to live within these parameters of an offense. Well, if you give him those rules to live by, he's gonna follow it to a T.
Right.
And he'll almost lean into his bad habits because the things that you're emphasizing will only lead into bad habits.
Is Keon Johnson going to be too much money?
He's not going to make more than a minimum. So,
really?
Keon Johnson?
Yeah, the Nets had just cut him, I believe.
They cut Keon Johnson?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's on.
You got to remember the Nets drafted 6 rookies.
Yeah,
they drafted 4 guards, right?
They drafted 3 guards in the first round.
I mean, to be absolutely honest, the Wolf kid, he's basically a guard. So, like
the center.
Yeah, I mean he's 7'2", but
yeah,
he plays on ball. Like a lot of those big wing-sized guys, they basically put them on ball because they can't score. If they could score, they wouldn't make them a point guard. They would just be a wing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Keon Johnson's 6'5".
Yeah,
Athletic.
can't
Yeah.
shoot though. But
Am I
but
confusing him with Keon Ellis?
Probably.
yeah, because
Okay.
Keon Ellis is on the
Kings?
Keon Johnson. Remember, we went to like the summer league finals and he was on the Blazers at that time. I don't know if you
That's
remember
the kid
that.
from Tennessee, right? That's the athlete from the Sprewell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he got shoot percentage like IQ though.
Hey.
Below
39, 38%.
Below 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. But quickly shot forms don't look fantastic.
Yeah, he got the fact he got to the league he got 175 million shooting the ball like that.
Pushing it, you can tell his mom taught him how to shoot. that ball out front. I was telling y'all when he was here, I was like his shot is below 45 degrees. He pushing it. He ain't never gonna be. You can't. Your ball. You got to give your ball a chance. Right. You got to give your shot a chance, man.
That makes his shot very streaky. So some nights he'll just look like 7 out of 8. There's nothing you could do with him.
Yeah.
And then some nights he's 2 for 11 from 3.
And all it takes for shooters like that, all it takes is for them to be dinged up a little bit, and they're in a slump. Like roll an ankle, you're in a slump for a month. And I don't mean severely roll an ankle. I'm talking about just your balance is not completely there. You're in a slump. We've seen guys like that all the time over the years. You know what I'm saying? You know, starts.
Yeah.
You get dinged up a little bit, and now your shot is off, as opposed to having a short, clean shooting stroke. And
it's mechanical. There's like 2 parts to it.
Yeah.
It's like the raise, and then I have to release it, and you can see it instead of one fluid motion. Like Steph, for example.
Yeah.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Wow, Hood Schifino.
Who?
Jalen Hood, he's trash. I'm not gonna lie.
He's still only 22 years old though.
And when a team gives up on you on a rookie deal,
yeah, you trash.
That's not good.
That's what I was talking about Rhymes.
He averaged the same per game than Deuce. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you got to look up his shooting percentages.
Like guys that we call trash, like our supposed 6-man can't even average that. It's been happening a lot.
I'll say this though: more teams would want a Deuce than they would want a Jalen Hood Schifino.
Yeah, I don't know. He's 6'5".
You can plug in a Deuce on basically any roster. Play him limited or a lot of minutes. You can plug him in.
I'm not saying he's better than Deuce at all. Just looking at tall guards. Because I'm being unlike people that say, yeah, Dennis Schroeder. Bro, we can't afford these guys. Unless he decides to take the trade level exception.
Bro, did you see how much he disliked the Knicks during the playoffs, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like something. Sometimes we think some money is great money. Like all money is not great money to some of these NBA players, bro. Especially when you consider half your check is going to go to the state of New York as soon as you sign it, and then you got to pay federal taxes, or not half, but I
mean there are means for NBA players to get around it. What they do is they list their primary location to another state, and they get half their check given to them for 6 months worth in that state. And then they get paid the other 6 months while they're actually working. Yeah. There are small ways to get around it. It's not the ideal, though. You're still losing money compared to an income tax-free state. Completely. But you're not losing as much. Like a lot of the Knicks players, they list that they have a home in Miami, and they get half their check sent there to that destination for half the year, like for 6 months. Yeah. So half their salary is like given to them at the beginning of the season. And then the other half is paid bi-weekly in the location that they're actually working from, which is New York.
You know, the work taxes ain't no. You know, hey man, you know you have to pay taxes everywhere you work, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, know that. That's
they
crazy.
dip a little bit everywhere you step in.
Yep, yep, yep. That's crazy. Yep.
We're just gonna have
Um,
to we're just gonna have to make Freezie root for Dinwiddie, bro.
fuck Spencer Dinwiddie. The hell we talking about, bro? Oh
I
my god,
knew it.
You
yo,
wouldn't take him off the bench?
no, I would, bro.
He was
Uh,
talking crazy about the
I
Knicks.
wouldn't take him off train tracks if the train was coming, bro. Maybe I would to save the train. I would do it just to save the train, right? Spencer Dinwiddie, bro. Some dudes, nah. Every player ain't good players, bro. For me, right? Like I wouldn't take Bron. I wouldn't take KD. Y'all know how I feel. Y'all know how I feel about Kemba Walker to this day,
yeah.
and he stayed where my cousins them stay at. Right? He stay in my cousins them neighborhood, or he used to stay. He from my cousins in them neighborhood. Right? And some dudes, bro. I just not me.
You have pride.
Yeah, I mean, how we like to call it like giving yourself away. Would you give yourself away for a championship? Some stuff is a bridge too far for me. And Spencer Dinwiddie is one of them dudes.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, man. Spencer Dinwiddie, bro. Coach just did that to put a rock in my shoe. I owe you one, coach.
I'd be willing to take him on. I'm just being realistic. He's a career over 80% free throw shooter. He's a willing passer. He's a vet that's been in the thick of it. Just saying.
It's gonna be someone we ain't never heard of that fit what we wanted
Yeah,
to a T. I get it always is. It always works out weirdly like that with our front office.
yeah. That means they're doing their homework, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That means they're doing their homework, man, and I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah, like, look, every year there's guys. Man, who's it? Like, I look at guys like that. I'm interested in looking at in the trade, and I see they're only making $2 million, $3 million. They were contributing to their team. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then I look at they were drafted in the second round, undrafted. I'm like, well, hell, you got guys like that. Like, who's to say one of those guys aren't going to be that guy for us this year? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are going to say, oh, who's Pacome Dadier? Well, you might find out this year.
I will say this as regards to our team in terms of the evaluation of talent. The evaluation of talent and the cost, of the performance of that talent. That during the Leon Rose era, our team has done well. I give our front office much credit. I look at that last trade I just heard. I'm sure you guys heard it too. The Lonzo Ball going to Cleveland for Coro. When you look at those players that Chicago had, remember they had Levine, DeRozan, all those guys. Do you know that they never got picks for any of those guys? When you look at the history of all those different trades, they really didn't get like quality first round picks, and then the talent that they got in return. Uh, when I saw that, it just helped me to appreciate what good of a front office that we have when we look at the talent that we have, and the value, and its value. I mean, I know we're paying for it now, but that's just a product of where the league is headed. So I mean, it's nothing that can be done about that. As they say, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. But yeah, we've gotten good return on our talent. So we got to have confidence in the front office and whatever move that is made during this free agency period. That like you guys said, that they find a way somehow. They find a way. So just keep the faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, no to Spencer Dinwiddie, bro. We gotta no to Spencer Dinwiddie, bro. We gotta relax. Like, yeah, we gotta chill out, bro. Right? I mean, yeah. Spencer Dinwiddie and Cameron Payne are the same player to me. It's just one is taller and the other one is mad likable. That's it. That's the thing with me. They the same dude. How y'all like D'Angelo Russell?
Hell yeah, I'd like him, but he's gonna cost something.
Like what? Like who's gonna give him 2 years, 50 million?
No, I'm not saying that much.
Yeah, like who's gonna give him 3 years, 60 million?
Nobody, but
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. Well, who's gonna give him like
we got a trim salary to get him though.
Who we talking about?
D'Angelo Russell?
Nobody's giving him a lot of money. Huh,
That was yeah.
man.
No,
Those
no
days
one's
are
giving
long
him a
gone
lot
for
of
him.
yeah. No one's giving him a lot of money, but he's still would cost too much for us. I wouldn't want unless he's willing to take way less, which I doubt.
I think the
I
leader,
think I don't think we're in his price range.
the leader in the clubhouse for teams that are gonna get like the cheap point guard that might want to inflate their value is gonna be the Dallas Mavericks. Like, uh, like to be actually honest, with Kyrie out, Mavericks don't have a ton of money to give, but they have an open starting point guard position, and they have talent on that team. And if you play well, you can parlay that into making more money in the following year when teams have more money, more salary space, salary cap space. So, like, if we're talking about point guards out there that might be playing for less, if D'Lo fits that category, he'd want to go to the Dallas Mavericks more than he'd want to come to the Knicks and automatically be the second fiddle to like Brunson or something like that. To be absolutely honest with you, like guys like Dennis Schroeder and D'Lo are looking at that Mavericks job like an opportunity
Yeah,
to
you
get paid.
actually, you're absolutely right because at the same time, it's a this league is a business, and so you want to put your stamp on it, so to speak. So yeah,
It's like a self investment,
yep,
planting a seed.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
What Fritz said in the chat, yeah, Tyus Jones tried it last year, but it's gonna keep happening. It's not the first time it's happened in the league. It's not gonna be the last time. Guys are gonna bet on themselves in certain situations where they can
Yeah,
parlay
but the
an
key,
opportunity to make more money. And it's worked for other guys and it's failed for
yeah,
others.
the key to the parlay though, in connection with what you said, is winning. If the team wins, then your value goes up. But if your team loses, then it's nothing. And that's was the case with Tyus Jones with Phoenix. Because Phoenix didn't do anything, they looked at him as like, man, what a waste. But if Phoenix, let's say if Phoenix went to the Western Conference Finals and lost, oh, he would be a hot commodity.
Yeah. If Phoenix won 55 games in this past season, Tyus Jones, someone would give Tyus Jones 15 to 20 million. But because of how it worked out, it didn't work. And now you're gonna see guys like what's his name? Ty Jerome, even though like because the Cavs are very close to the second apron or are above the second apron, they pivoted to Lonzo Ball, who's going to be a cheaper option that has a team option so they can get off his money in the following year if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
That's why Todd Jerome is going to be out there on the market looking for a job. And he's going to get paid some money because the Cavs won a lot of games and he was part of that. And he was playing on that minimum last year. because he was injured often. Now
Oh,
players around the league,
can I share with you what I heard it?
yeah.
When I heard it, I immediately thought that meant Darius Garland is getting traded. Not because Lonzo Ball is equal to Darius Garland. What
Plus,
that
they just
means,
drafted Proctor.
what it means is, in theory, is they moved a bench piece that they didn't like for a piece that they do like as a fourth guard type guy. You move Darius Garland in hopes that you get, say, for instance, you trade him to Orlando. You get a young point guard prospect that they have, whoever that is, and that means you have Mitchell, Lonzo, the young point guard prospect, and then you bring in like a vet, and you save money. You get away from that second apron.
I think they like Ty Jerome, and I don't think they're hedging their bets on Lonzo Ball miraculously staying healthy with a cadaver knee. I believe it was solely to save money because they couldn't afford Ty Jerome on a multi-year deal. They just couldn't. Not and Fritz said it in the chat already. They're already over the second apron.
Oh wow!
So like I think it was completely a money saving maneuver. Long term wise, like beyond this year. So they can stay under the second apron next year. The year after following, I mean. And that would be borderline impossible if you signed Ty Jerome.
Look what they just
To any
paid.
real money.
Look what they just paid Sam Merrill.
Yeah.
Yeah, overpaid Sam. That was an overpay for him.
And he's only a shooting guard too. Like Ty Jerome was dumb. I don't know why y'all thinking. And y'all, Kenny Atkinson benched his ass.
He was terrible. He
Yeah,
was terrible in the postseason, but they would have brought him back if he was just average in the postseason. Well,
he's gone. You don't sign
Oh.
Sam Merrill to that. And
Bro, you can't.
Well, the thing with Ty Jerome, from watching him, he's not a great defender, and he doesn't move those puppies well as a guard. He can't defend. Yeah, he can shoot, but he's no good defender. At least Sam Merrill gives them a little something on defense.
Sam Merrill's actually an underrated defender, which is
Y'all wilding, bro.
Yeah.
Ty Jerome was carrying the Cavs at stretches during the season.
yeah, in the regular season, absolutely. He was like the leader in six
oh,
man.
Ty Jerome's a bucket.
Right,
That's
but
about it.
but my point though is, in the playoffs, you expect your stars to be stars in the playoffs. You don't expect a role player to turn into a star in the playoffs. And so for anybody that blamed Ty Jerome for anything, don't understand how basketball works, bro. You pay these dudes like Donovan Mitchell millions of dollars to perform in the playoffs. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, these are the dudes you have to depend on in the playoffs. Just by saying Ty Jerome name make me think we don't even understand how this. A role player got benched, and it's a top man. Nah, man, Ty Jerome is valuable, right? I'd trade Deuce for him right now. Bim, I'd do it.
I wouldn't argue against it at all.
I would too. He was born in New York too.
Yeah, bro. When a role player get benched in the playoffs, man, so what? It's a role player. And now if Donovan Mitchell had got benched in the playoffs, see, that's what I'm talking about, bro.
I mean, he but someone that would average 13 points a game, and he was counted on as the bucket getter off the bench.
I'll say this: they'll try to get some of that production back, not from Lonzo, but this kid off their bench, Craig Porter Jr., Freezie. They see a lot of what they saw in Ty Jerome in him, and we've seen him come in and get buckets against us. He's a diminutive guard, like around 6'2", 6'3". He has offensive.
Are you talking
capability.
about the Chauncey Billups white dude? You talking about the Chauncey Billups white dude on their bench? He about the 6'3" light skinned dude.
Yeah, he had like a little fro.
Yeah.
They basically let him go to keep Craig Porter Jr. and let Craig Porter Jr. step into that role without having to pay for it. And I understand where it's like maybe you overpaid for Sam Merrill, but 40% 3-point shooting dudes usually get paid he's getting paid $9.5 million, $9.5 million.
Yeah.
At the same rate for like the next 4 years.
I mean, Ty Jerome, I mean, he can play make too a little bit.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, bro.
But when you're in that second apron,
These are the decisions you have to
you're not gonna get Ty Jerome for $9.5 million for the next 4 years.
Nah.
What you can do, you can get Craig Porter Jr. for like 12 million for the next 4 years.
Yeah. And let's not forget Ty Jerome was traded for Chris Paul. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, Philly.
Yeah.
And you got traded for Chris Paul, bro.
And
Yeah.
to be absolutely honest, before this one season, he was injured almost every year.
Yep.
Maybe the Cavs viewed him as a ticking time bomb, and it's not worth it when you're already over the second apron to pay for him, and he might just come out and just be injured all year. Because if you look at his history, he's been injured every year, no matter if he's on OKC or the Cavs before last year. Last year was the first time he played a full season in his career, and he's 28.
A Virginia guard not be injury prone? I never heard of it, bro.
Virginia players in general.
Yeah.
They got another one over there, DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah.
Stay hurt.
Brian Stith.
Yeah. Is it John Crotty? John Crotty and Brian Steph? Yeah, I think that's the
Malcolm Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon. God dog it.
You know what did it?
Dre digging in the crates.
Game 2, Ty Jerome was 1 of 14.
Yeah, he was. And you know what's funny about it? The vast majority of those shots were the same shots he took in a regular season and was lighting them up, and he just couldn't hit anything.
And then the next game he got in, he only played 13 minutes, and he shot 1 for 8 in 13 minutes.
Confidence was shot. And then when you're that style of player and you offer nothing on the defensive end, you become completely unplayable, and you can't be giving guys 12, 13, 14 million dollars and you could play them off the court.
Yeah.
And he was a spark in that first game. He had 21 points off the bench, I remember.
Yeah.
And then it went downhill fast.
Yeah, like 8 assists. But like, look, you can't. When we're talking about the money that we're going to be paying whoever it is we're talking about, and the back end or middle of the rotation guys, these are the kind of guys that are those positions, guys. Some $12 million guy who's a safe bet, that's a two-way player. We can't afford that dude unless we trade your heartstrings, the Mitches and the Deuces and the Hearts of the world.
You talking about Lonzo? That Lonzo deal?
Yeah,
there was no way for us to acquire Lonzo with the salaries that we had on our roster without being upset about it. Like there's just no fair trade. Like for instance, they gave up Isaac Okoro, and he makes around what Lonzo makes. The only players in that vacuum or in that area is Mitch and Josh Hart. And that's not gonna happen.
Well, Josh makes double. Though. He makes almost 20.
Yeah, and they'd have to like throw in like 2 minimum players to make it work.
How much does Lonzo make?
10
million.
There's just no way for us to get to.
He only makes 10, bro.
Yeah, there's just no way to get to his figure to make the money work with our roster right now.
White only makes 18.
Yeah, to the Cavs.
Kobe White makes 18 million.
Who? Derek White?
Kobe.
Kobe.
Oh, Kobe. Okay. And the only easy way to get to that is Josh or Mitch with filler, and I don't think it's worth that. Well,
Kobe White's worth getting for Josh,
White, but I don't think the Knicks will.
Because here's the thing. The new coach that comes in is not playing Josh Hart at power forward, and he's not playing Josh at a big wing. He's going to play Josh at shooting guard. So our replacement for Josh needs to be a shooting guard. Josh is no longer a power forward for the New York Knicks. A power guard. Okay, that was a Thibodeau made-up position. All right.
I have an idea. Let's put the smallest guy in our rotation at power forward
For 40 minutes.
For 40 minutes, back to back. Two 20-minute intervals.
I mean, the money, you can do Mitch and Deuce for the money for Kobe White. Keep Josh. I know it's going to hurt some feelings, but the money works. You can do Mitch and
I wouldn't do that though.
And Deuce for Kobe White. But
yeah, Kobe White ain't worth Mitch.
But if you think about it, and I'm not saying not pooing on Mitch, we have guys in the waiting behind Mitch. We ain't got no one behind Josh or Deuce right now. We got some wings, but we don't have shooting guards.
I got one for you. I would give up Deuce and whatever other package to put together to bring DiVincenzo back.
What do you mean, whatever package?
I don't know what it's going to take to fill the salary. In other words,
well,
I haven't done any homework on it.
DiVincenzo makes $11.1 million. I think
would be basically like doing the.
But I would give up Deuce and maybe a young player, just to fill the salary.
It's got to be $8 million more.
Yeah, you're gonna
have to be $8 million.
Players.
$7 million more.
You're gonna give the 3 players for Dante. I'm sorry, I like Dante. He ain't worth the maneuvering for all of that.
Yeah, he ain't worth the paperwork for all. Yeah, I mean, you would do it if there was a done. If we had Pat Connaughton at 11, right? I mean, okay, let's just swap these two.
Yeah, if we had Isaac Okoro making that money that he went for Lonzo, then I'd attach a couple second rounders and see. But we ain't got the salary slot for it.
Yeah,
we just don't.
That's the unfortunate part. Everybody makes either a lot of money or a little bit of money outside of Mitch. Everybody makes a lot or a little bit.
And the way the CBA is set up, it forces you to play the game that way. Like the middle class player relative to the rest of the league, there aren't that many guys making 12, 13. There's a lot of guys making 20, 30, 40. There's a lot of minimum guys, a lot of second round tenders, a lot of rookie contracts.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of $15 million players.
Right.
Compared to how it used to be.
And then this is where I come back around again for all the people who are hesitant. And if you want to keep guys
you calling people out?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm asking because I call them out too. I don't care.
Yeah, if people want to keep Deuce and Mitch because we got to have their defense, I don't want to hear that a guy like Ty Jerome's not good on defense. Well, he can score because those other 2 guys you're in love with can't score. Okay, so we have to get a guy that can score with him. That's just that's how the way.
I don't understand the point though. Are you saying? And the reason why I understand, are you saying that the Knicks need a bucket off the bench?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, all right.
Because right now we got 3 bucket protectors, and really Josh isn't even neither. Really, Josh ain't even that good on defense.
Josh is just a rebounder. He's not a good defender or a good offensive player. He's just a really good rebounder.
Josh falls into the category of a utility hustle type of guy, and he definitely needs to come off the bench. He does have his uses, but he's definitely not a starter.
I can name 30 players in the NBA if they were given the minutes that Josh Hart had, that their stats would be very similar to Josh Hart's when you play that many minutes. Precious Achiuwa's rebounds and points would be the same or more.
Yeah, Precious was 13 and one stretch for like 29 games.
Like when he plays that many minutes. Now he ain't gonna get the assists like Josh had,
but even in that stretch Coach mentioned, Precious shot 31% from 3. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was last year, but the season before last, the February of the season before last.
Precious's shot ain't ugly. It looks like a big man that can shoot a little bit. It ain't like,
But we know going forward that Josh is not going to get the minutes he's gotten. So that was a Tibbs thing.
Yeah.
His minutes is gonna come down a lot.
But the value in Josh is that he gets you volume in the minutes. So I'm not even sure, like playing Josh less minutes, it doesn't solve the issue that is Josh, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Yo, when did we start hating Josh Hart?
Hey
Oh
man,
God, it's
you know
not
I've been
hate.
feeling about Josh for
No,
years.
I
Bro,
wouldn't say. I wouldn't
personally.
call it. I wouldn't call it a hate. I wouldn't call it that.
I'll
Hate.
frame it like this: how many utility players get paid $20 million in the league?
In the new era of NBA basketball,
Yeah,
I
this
understand where you're going with it. We're talking about like, is he worth what he's getting paid?
ultimately when you're building a team, every last cent matters
Yeah,
in this era.
I'm having a problem figuring out what guy in the NBA is going to get you 7 triple doubles and is not making 20 million.
Oh.
I'm saying if you gave Ben Simmons
The reason
38 minutes a
why
night,
Josh Hart got triple doubles because we didn't have a second ball handler on our team that can throw a pass, and we didn't have another rebounder, a second rebounder besides Cat until Mitch came back. So Josh by default was those two guys because he was in the damn game.
Precious, but you just said Precious.
He didn't play. He can't do it if he don't play.
He was playing before Mitch came back.
Not that many minutes.
He was playing. Look at his game log. He was playing. He was the backup 5.
Well, the ones when he played, but he never had Josh Hart minutes. That's what I'm talking about. Like, got that many minutes.
No, nobody's playing Josh. I mean, not even Mitch is playing Josh Hart minutes.
Like, and the thing is, if you're a rebound specialist at 6'4", like the guys that have been rebound specialists in the NBA,
modern time.
Yeah, the two that come to mind are Rodman and Wallace, Ben Wallace. You know what else they were? Not only that, they're relics of the past, and they were also probably one of the best defenders of all time. Yeah. Both of them. Yeah. Is Josh Hart one of the best defenders of all time?
But the game was different, though, Coach. That in that era that Rodman played,
rebounding mattered more then than it does now.
But here's the thing about the Rodman era, which we can't compare this era to any other era, right? And the reason is that era of basketball didn't feature the 3-point shot. And why the 3-point shot? Why I bring that up? Just bear with me on it. The 3-point shot on misses creates longer rebounds, right? And so guys are not gonna stand under the rim and just muscle up a guy for a ball that's gonna come off the rim 2.5 feet, 3 feet off the rim, right? These balls are coming at pause, right? I was going to say balls and rim and all that stuff. Saying that these shots are coming off the rim from guys shooting from 25, 27, sometimes 30 feet if you're Porzingis, right? Dennis Rodman would not average 15, 16 rebounds if he had to chase down 3-point misses all night. I'm sorry, and I love Dennis Rodman, right? And I love Ben Wallace, right? But nah, these dudes ain't. You know what I'm saying? So Josh Hart averaging 9 rebounds, 9.5 rebounds, or whatever. To me, it's a miracle that a guy his size can grab those and get out and push in transition. But where Josh's misgivings take place is when he has to make decisions in the half court when the team is not running. Whether it's his defensive transition is always good, transition defense, and his offensive transition offense is always really good. In the half court, where size matters and space matters, is where Josh Hart frustrates us. But that's something that he can't help at 6'4", right? Same thing with Brunson. He can't help it in the half court. He's never going to be taller than 6'2", right? Now, if we had a different style of play, where on those long rebounded misses or those long missed rebounds, we got out and run, you could see a better version of Josh Hart, and there would be less emphasis on looking to get more size at the position in the half court because now you're out in transition more, where athleticism is more important than size. So that's the thing. The thing with me and Josh Hart, depending on the coach we get, depending on the coach that we get, Josh Hart, I think, is going to be a weapon. Now, if it's Mike Brown, not as much. If it's Taylor Jenkins, absolutely. Right, depending on which coach you hire. Right, and so the Josh Hart thing, I absolutely get it. At 6'4", 200 pounds, he's a point guard size, masquerading as a shooting guard that wants to rebound and protect the rim like a center, which makes him a power guard, like Coach said. Power guard sounds like a car wash machine, right? You use a power guard to wash your car. That's what it sounds like.
Right. Like, look, all this stuff, I'm willing to be okay with it if the man can just be a willing shooter and driver when he's supposed to. Like, I really think he's not that bad of a shooter anymore. I think if he shoots all the time, if he shot more, he's going to shoot for like a 35% average, which is fine. We're not asking him to shoot like 6 or 7 a game.
If Josh Hart, by God's grace, became a 37% shooter on like 5 attempts a game, I don't think we would win 65 games just because.
I think he can do that. He just has to shoot. Like,
can he? It's been 10 years. He's never done that, ever.
But I'm just saying, shoot the ball when he's open. He was shooting 40% for like almost the first half of the year.
Even when he's open, coach, they're guarding him with center, so it compromises you anyway. So even if he's shooting it when he's open, he's never going to be the type to just be like, oh, they're leaving me open, I'm going to take 13 threes tonight. He's never going to be that guy. Like,
no, I'm not saying I want him to have. Yeah. I'm not saying I want Josh to have plays run for him. I want Josh to be like, if he's our starting shooting guard, who he's supposed to be, all 29 other teams starting shooting guards in the league, when they're left open, they shoot the three. Period. But every other starting shooting guard in the NBA and probably almost all the backups, that's in their job description.
He doesn't have the mentality to be like, I'm going to take 15 3. Matter of fact, for example, a team tried to guard the Celtics the way to be and like succeed shooting. I believe it was the Pacers. They tried to succeed shots to like Drew Holiday, right? And Drew Holiday was like, okay, I will take 17 threes tonight. And you know what he did? He took 17 threes out the corners because they gave him that shot. Josh will never decide, like as a true shooter in the league, he will never get up 10 in a game.
Never, because he's Ben Wallace. This dude is Ben Wallace in Jason Kidd's body.
And for example, just to clear it up even further, just to, as you said, like
JaVale McGee's
for him to just take the shot.
Basketball IQ.
Even if you leave him open for 20 shots, he's only going to take 5 of them. And if he makes all 5, oh well, it's 5 possessions out of the 90 in the game that he made a shot. And you have 85 other possessions where he's handicapping your offense. They will live with that, even if he makes those shots. Like, he has to take a dramatic switch in his mentality. He has to be like, yo, they're leaving me open. I need to take 8 threes when they're leaving me open, and I need to make half of them. Like,
Josh Hart's not going to do that. That's like asking DeAndre Swift to be a short yardage back. Right? Yeah. It's not going to happen. It's like asking Breece Hall to be good. Like, these things are never going to happen. Right?
That's low.
Josh Hart is talking about for Josh Hart. That's talking about a low bar for Josh Hart. Josh Hart is a certain type player, bro. He's not going to change. Right? Josh Hart's not going to change. He's doing the same stuff at Villanova. He was like trying to do rim protection and all that stuff at Villanova, except they played a little zone. They mixed their defenses. Like traditionally, the Knicks didn't switch up their defenses with Tom Thibodeau. So, but if we're thinking about what the future of Knicks basketball is going to look like, I think Josh Hart. If Mike Brown is the hire, Josh Hart is going to be a star in transition, right? And all it takes is us to get defensive stops, long rebounds, and get out and run. Josh Hart is going to be that. If we're projecting, now if we just go by what we've seen historically, the 3.5 years of, is it 3.5 or 2.5? 2.5 years of Josh Hart? It's 2.5 years of Josh Hart, right? 3 years of Brunson? Yeah. This is the 2.5 years of Josh Hart with Tibbs. We can't really go by that with the new coach, in my opinion, even though the player does have a skill set that lends itself to what the previous coach liked to do.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe another coach will utilize spacing in a different way to get around his shortcomings.
Yeah.
But at the highest level, when teams know exactly what you're gonna do, yeah, Josh can't be 35, 40 minutes in the playoffs. He's just not going to be. If you look around the league and you look in the finals, guys like Josh not playing 35 minutes in the playoffs.
Absolutely agree.
Regardless of context.
I think there is a heart and soul element to having Josh Hart here also. Right? There's a chemistry element to having Josh Hart here. Like Josh Hart is a valuable Knick. And I think sometimes Josh Hart's shortcomings are on full display because the roster itself had shortcomings that Jalen Brunson covered up with outstanding play. And I
think we had schematic shortcomings as well.
Yeah.
We hit the Jalen Brunson button to fix a lot of our ills.
Yeah. No, I think, I'm with you. I'm inclined to agree. Oh, shoot. Man, we went over the 2 hour mark. Now AI can't do the cut. God dog it. I'll try to. Man, it's Saturday night, man. Forget. I don't care. But the Josh Hart thing, man, I think Josh Hart is valuable. Mitch is valuable. Deuce is valuable. I just think we need to reassign their roles, right? I think Mitch, if anybody needs a minute increase, it's Mitch Robinson, in my opinion. If anybody needs a minute decrease, it's Josh Hart, right? If anybody on a roster needs to step their game up to the next level or get out of town, it's Deuce, right? Deuce is my man, 50 grand. I love Deuce, man. I love Deuce. But if you're in a point guard role, bro, you gotta be a point guard, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not a non-traditional, I'm playing my style of point guard, man, because my style fits it. No, we're not doing that. Right now, we're not doing that, bro. You gotta be the guy. Right? I'm sorry. If that offended some people, man, I apologize for just saying it out loud, but I mean it. So, anybody disagree that Deuce needs to step his game up to the next level?
Deuce needs to be better. But what he is right now can still be used at his lowest form. But he still needs to improve. What is Deuce headed into? His 4th year now?
5th year?
His 5th? Sure.
5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. He was in the Grimes draft. Remember Herb Jones, Trey Mann?
It is his 5th. It is his 5th. Wow.
Yeah, it's his 5th season coming up.
He just never played until he never really got real consistent minutes until his 3rd year. To be absolutely honest.
That's on him, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And no disrespect to an NBA player, and we understand that there's politics involved. Certain players are at certain levels but Deuce McBride is going into his 8th season out of high school. My man is going into his 8th season out of high school, right? That means, that man played 3 years of college with Bob Huggins at West Virginia. That man played 4 seasons with the Knicks, coached by Tibbs. Come on, Deuce. We got to have some. And my belief is if we had any point guard play outside of Jalen Brunson, we're the NBA champs right now. And I'm not blaming it all on Deuce because clearly the coach was like, I'm going to run my stuff. They be mad. Yeah, man. Yeah, if anybody, I ain't gonna front, man. If anybody needs to step their game up, man, it's not Cat, it's not Brunson, it's not OG, it's not Bridges, it's not Mitch, it's not Josh Hart, it's Deuce. It's Deuce, man.
How many of Deuce's threes were contested? Let's be honest.
I don't know.
I mean, we watched a lot of games. Or most of his threes.
I know he shot some contested threes in that Detroit series because he couldn't get free.
Yeah.
Deuce is 25 heading into the season.
Okay. And what? I mean,
like teams aren't game planning against Deuce. He gets good shots.
Basically, for the most part. But at least you have to make sure you know where he is, and him just actually existing in that realm makes it easier on your offense. He's not going to do a whole lot once he gets the ball, but him keeping some attention on him because of his shooting prowess is more helpful than it hurts you. At his lowest form, does he need to do more? Like, I would love for Deuce to be able to attack a closeout and create a lob or get 2 feet in the paint and make a pass out of that.
Right in the rim. Yep.
Yeah. I think at that height, you need to be able to do that relatively consistently.
You mean
9 times out of 10, once he beats a closeout, he's looking for a mid-range jumper. He's not really creating anything else.
That man said, I want Deuce to do basic point guard
stuff. When you're the de facto most minutes off the bench guy for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 playoff games, and you only got double figures twice, 10 and 11 points. You're supposed to be the bucket off the bench? Nope.
Yeah, my thing was, so I was really disappointed in Deuce because we were expecting him to like step into like being one of the best 6 men in the league, and he started out on fire and then just disappeared.
Yeah.
We look, as a fan base, we look stupid comparing him to Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah. And you know what we also look stupid about, Dre?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Quickly was here and Quickly wanted to be a starting point guard, and people were like, yo, you could just trade Quickly because Deuce might be a better player than him anyway.
That's actually ludicrous.
And
but that was our thinking, though. That was our thinking. Like the Knicks drafted so well that maybe Deuce is better than Quickly. Maybe Quentin Grimes is better than RJ if you give Quentin Grimes the ball. This is our thinking, Coach. You know how I know that, Coach?
Because you were there.
Because I was there, bro. We do the Knicks at Night podcast. People put comments in the comment section. People were on the show.
Here's the thing about Deuce. Maybe his wheelhouse, maybe he's only meant to have 18, 19 minutes a game. And that's fine. This year, he was given 25 minutes a game, and he dropped 5% in field goal percentage, and he dropped 5% in his three-point percentage. So 5% in field goal and 5% in three-point.
Deuce makes $3 million Deuce giving me 20 minutes at $3 million is excellent.
Now that's why I'm not pounding on the table as much to like, hey, we got to get rid of Deuce, because his contract is so valuable. It's got a good value, and it's descending. He'll make less next year and even less the year after. So that part I can't complain. So,
Coach, we can't do that though, dog. We can't say like, yo, man, nah, I'll eat these Fruity Loopies from Poppy instead of Fruit Loops. Nah, dog. Because they cheap don't mean the value is there. I understand though where you're going with it, right? Like Deuce giving you these elements of NBA basketball for $3 million is crazy, right?
right.
The thing is, what is it really? Is it something that he's injecting into a game, or is it something he's being rewarded off the back of what others are doing? Right? Like for instance, you remember Leroy Horde? Remember the touchdown vulture when fantasy football first started? Leroy Horde played for the Vikings. They had Noeldy Moore, Michael something right after Robert Smith retired. And you got Leroy Horde, and Leroy Horde scored 13 touchdowns. And people were like, yo, Leroy Horde is a touchdown monster. No, not really. Because none of those touchdowns were from the 1 yard line. Right? It's not like Leroy Horde was breaking 23-yard touchdown runs. Right? These dudes were legit snapping off 70-yard runs, and then Leroy Horde would come trotting on the field to jump across the goal line. Right? Right? And so this is the thing I'm saying about Deuce. Like, is Deuce really injecting something into a thing that is a consistent deliverable? Or is it the benefactor of what others have done? Right? And at times I think it's an injection, and at times I think it's more like anybody could do that. You got Jalen Brunson being double teamed all night. Jalen Brunson's the starting point guard for the Eastern Conference. Cat's the starting center for the Eastern Conference. And then Deuce comes off the bench and gets you 10 points. And we're like, yo, but did you see that three he hit in the corner that was wide open? Yeah, Cat and Brunson was probably double teamed on that play. Deuce got a wide open three, and we're glad he hit it. Since when do we start clapping when an NBA player knocks on a wide open three?
Well, I mean, if Josh Hart could do that consistently, we'd probably be in the finals. We might win it.
If Deuce could do that.
Well, I mean, Deuce could hit open threes. That's what he does.
Okay, I gotta see again. I gotta pull up Deuce playoff numbers, bro. Because Deuce.
Well, this playoffs he was bad. Last playoffs he was excellent. Unfortunately,
but that's what I'm.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now that you say that, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that man shot 37.8% in the playoffs, Dre, and shot 37% from three.
What?
That man shot 38% from the floor in the playoffs. Now remember also, Cameron Payne got benched.
He got benched for DeLon Wright.
Yeah, who's a non-shooter.
And if Deuce could actually play point guard, we wouldn't be worried about DeLon Wright. It would just, matter of fact, we wouldn't even be thinking about. We wouldn't even have drafted Kolick. We wouldn't be talking about having another ball handler.
Right.
It would just be Deuce.
Think about it. If Deuce was a scorer or was a threat, we could have been playing Precious instead of DeLon Wright. And I like DeLon Wright. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like DeLon Wright. He's the guy I've been clamoring for all season, a 6'5" guard that can make. You can play next to Brunson and off the bench. So I'm not being disrespectful to him, but if Deuce could score, and with Mitch's defense, right now you have Precious and Landry Shamet that you could play together, right? It don't matter what that unit is, whether it's Precious, Josh, Shamet, and Deuce, or Precious, Mitch, Shamet and Deuce, whatever the lineup looked like, if you got some offense from that group, we may be right now still tipsy. I know I would be. I'd still be tipsy right now, Coach.
Yeah.
Are you calling? You agree? You calling me a lush? Yo, I said lush.
I'd be with you.
Yo, y'all probably for the young people in the chat, lush means you drink a lot. Coach, we can't be using these words from the 70s, bro.
In 6 games in the Pacers series, he made a total of 5 threes.
Yeah.
He had the most assists he had in a game was 2. He had 0 assists twice. I mean,
and Coach, again,
and
I
people want to keep calling him a point guard, and you complain about Brunson's 7 assists. Not you, but when people that complain about,
just as a rule of thumb, I'm not saying throw Deuce away. What I'm saying is, if you keep Deuce,
redefine his role,
and get an accent to what he does.
Right,
Delano Benton. Right. But if you understand that you need to get a guy that's going to get you 16 points a game off the bench on 9 or 10 shots, Deuce is never going to be that guy.
Because he can't. Because now, can once in a while he elevate and dunk? Yeah. But we saw what happened every time he tried to drive and do a layup. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be guys that have his skill set, can shoot just as good as he does, but can also get a shot off one-on-one against all the other 40 shooting guards in the league that are taller than him. I mean, that's just being real. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe his wheelhouse is a 15 minutes a game. Because he flourished better last year when he only had 19 minutes. His shooting percentage was better. Maybe he was given too much.
Or maybe he was used incorrectly.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Like you put someone like Ben Simmons next to him, that might be perfect. For Deuce.
Yeah.
But like I said, if we have a chance to get someone that's better, I'm not gonna take my heart out of it. Sorry. I want to win more than I want to keep my favorite players.
What if I told you in the playoffs that Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns took just about the same amount of shots?
That's
Point
weird.
guard play, right? I think one took 15, one took 14. I think Cat took 15, and Bridges took something like that.
It's point guard play, but it's also like, the
Cat took himself out of the game.
The 2-man game between Brunson and Cat should have been used a lot more. Like if you were to look at the first 2 months of the season isolated, Cat probably took 3 more shots per game than Mikal. But after teams took away the pick and roll because we just refused to take Josh Hart out the game, we never had any schematic adjustment to get Cat easier looks or more touches, and we just died that way.
Okay. So clearly Dre has that Tom Thibodeau residue on him. Like he ain't gonna. Hey Dre, you gotta go through the coach wash, bro, and get that Tibbs off you, bro.
Everything that we're talking about or we're making assessments on is basically a Tom Thibodeau coach
It's
team.
historic, right? No, I got you. I got you, and I understand it. And you made a great point, right? But I believe
I can fly.
I was, Coach, we read my mind, man. Like, Coach, we read my mind. But yeah, man, I believe, man, that Deuce is a player. I just don't think he's that player, bro. Like the last 2 years was legit the time for Deuce to step up and be that guy. And if it sounds disrespectful to Deuce, it's not intended, but the facts are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
The facts are what they are.
Yeah. And I say this every time. Whenever those stuff gets brought up about people taking their personal feelings out of the equation when letting guys go. The 3 guys that I loved that were my favorite, they all left. And 2 of them was in the Western Conference Finals, and the other one won the championship. So you don't think I miss them? You know, I wouldn't sit here telling people they're, whatever. If we become better because they had to leave, then so be it. Now, if the moves made and were worse, yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. I told you we should have kept them. But nah. I mean, I'm happy for iHeart. He won. Dante and Randall had a new team and new roles where they were. They had a letdown like we did. They lost to the champs. Okay. So, I like this team. I love this team. I said at the beginning of the year, and so did Freezie, that this team had the talent to go to the finals. And they showed they did. You were just a few weird things away from doing it.
Man, Julius Randle was almost 50, 40, 90 in the playoffs this year. What's going on?
See what happens when you get away from Tom Thibodeau?
Bro, Julius Randle was 50, 38 and a half, and 88% from the free throw line, bro.
Sometimes you need a coach to make the game easier for you. That's all I take from that.
RJ Barrett averaged 21, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. Well, how many guys have done this in the NBA this year?
RJ Barrett shot 47% from the floor, 35% from 3, and 63% from the free throw line. Yo, I ever told you that, Dre? I ever told y'all this? It's gonna sound crazy, right? I think RJ Barrett need glasses.
Yeah, he got a depth perception problem.
Yeah.
And you know how I can attribute that? In the bubble, well, not the bubble, but before we had crowds back, he shot 40% from 3.
Yes.
And then when crowds came back, the players themselves say in the bubble and in empty arenas, your depth perception is a lot better.
Yeah.
When you don't have to see the crowd, you don't have to see people in the stands.
Well, you don't have to ignore stuff and focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coach know that, like anybody that has ever played, anybody in here ever played linebacker or defensive back in high school, right? When you on the field, like in the afternoon, when the sun is out or whatever, ain't no thing, man. But when you playing at night and it's a crowd and the ball is in the air, you always like a split second off, but you make up for it with adrenaline, right? Because you ever got faster on game day than you was in practice?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Guys, Uncle Freezie's ham sandwich in his 28 games with the 76ers averaged 22 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.5 steals on 47% field goal percentage and 37% from three. Can you believe that?
He's not an NBA player, bro. That dude's legit a ham sandwich, bro.
And I was one of the people that said, get rid of him.
He a low leverage player, bro. Like he one of them dudes that'll thrive in low leverage moments, bro. You can't have him in. Bro, Coach, I'm telling you, I saw this guy.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I was like
those games didn't mean nothing.
Yeah,
they weren't playing for nothing.
Yeah, man. He is Marcus Mariota.
Oh,
you remember, Coach? You remember Marcus Mariota?
Of course.
That dude, I saw him legitimately. Dre, I legitimately saw this man. We were probably about 20 feet away from the action on the floor, bro. I saw this man throw a pass at Mitchell Robinson's face from about 20 feet. He threw the ball like 55 miles an hour. Bro, you got it. All right, if you're that nervous on the floor in Charlotte,
Yeah,
you need that guy, bro.
Dude, shout out to Deuce, like panicking with the slight bit of like ball pressure.
Yeah. I honestly, the guys that the Knicks have traded away, some of them I miss them because of separation anxiety. It has nothing to do with basketball, right? You know how you get something and you like it, you hope they do well for your team, and then they get traded. You're like, oh man, kind of like coaching Hartenstein. Like Hartenstein leaving was the best thing for the Knicks, right? Hartenstein wasn't. The Knicks were not going to be able to re-sign Hartenstein. Hartenstein was not going to take less than $17.5 million.
Yeah.
Right. It just was impossible. And we got to meet the Hartenstein kid, bro. He's the nicest professional athlete I have ever met. He's the most humble professional athlete that I have ever met. Right. Like when he was talking to Jay Boogie, bro, he was looking at Jay Boogie like Jay Boogie was his uncle, bro. Like legitimately the nicest guy ever. But you can't keep him, bro. Not at 17. He not taking that money. He got to feed his family. You know? Yeah. And thanks to the collective bargaining agreement, we just couldn't. There's no way we could figure out a way. Because if there was, I believe the Knicks front office is smart enough to have figured out a way. I believe our front office is smart. I don't feel like they're asleep at the wheel. I feel like they're smart. And when they get posed a challenge, they work on a resolution to the challenge. They're not going to just box themselves in and say, I give up. Right? So if there was a way to keep them, I think they would have. But that man basically, Oklahoma City said, we'll triple, quadruple your salary almost. How can you turn that down? That man went from 8 to 28. That's like 3.5 times what he was making. He got to take that money and no state tax or a small state tax in Oklahoma.
He would be silly not to take it. Like we offered him 4 years, 72. In his mind, he's gonna get $60 million over the next 2 years.
And over the next 2 years alone, and even if they don't pick up
and in his mind, if he's not good enough to make $13 million in the 2 years following, then that's on him.
That's on him.
And he should be good enough to make a nice piece of change after that. To make that up. So
yeah, because he'll be 28 and a free agent on the open market again.
He should make that 12 up in that 1 year following, instead of waiting 4 years to get that.
Yeah, even if he has to take that, because I think centers like him, once they get to be 28, they do the Andre Drummond route. If you're not elite, then you do the Andre every year, 1 year deal. Every year, 1 year deal, get used to it.
Well, it's funny as you said that. The Sixers gave Andre Drummond 2 years and they regret it.
Yeah.
Because he took his option.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oops.
The thing about that is he's still a bargain though at $5 million, right?
I
Like
think at 5 million, he's a vet minimum player. Not 5 million anymore. He's not very
is that
good.
about the same for his number of years though?
I think regardless of your status, your vet minimum number is gonna be higher, but what it shows up on the cap is the same. Like the
Yeah,
actual minimum number, depending on your status as 10-year player, it might be 3.8 or what have you, compared to someone that's a 5-year player, right? But what it shows up on the cap, it just shows up as vet minimum
yeah,
3.2 whatever.
yeah. And then plus the vet
But the
minimum,
seniority pays you a little bit higher.
the Players Association pays what 70% of vet minimum contracts to keep vets in the league.
I'm
Is it
not sure about that.
70, 65, 70, something like that.
Yeah,
Something like that. It's a Chris Paul threw that into a thing to try to help keep vets in the league. I think they did that like 7 or 8 years ago. But anyway, I would say um, I'm with Coach where some of the guys that were here, I appreciate them. Quentin Grimes though is a damn ham sandwich.
you're not gonna let that go.
He is the worst draft pick the Knicks have ever made, ever.
Oh,
And
We had a lot of bad draft picks though.
I saw them draft John Thomas, a 6'7.5" power forward.
Walter McRae
Played center. They thought he was gonna be Elgin Baylor, bro. John Thomas. Anybody here remember John Thomas out of Minnesota? The light skinned dude came in on draft night. He was out of shape. That man was out of. How are you out of shape on draft night, bro? You 6'7.5". They list you at 6'8". Long wingspan. Can't jump. Can't dribble. Can't shoot. Can't.
Man, worse than Jordan Hill.
Jordan Hill had a disorder.
Okay, as the
Him,
eighth pick.
and the other guy, the guy we drafted that wound up being a bust.
Sweetney.
Yeah,
Michael
Mike Sweetney had a
yeah.
disorder. Yeah,
Kevin Knox.
He worse than all those dudes.
What?
Mike Sweetney had a an undiagnosed disorder. When I hear this, I was hard on him, and then until I heard his story, and I'm like, yo, this man was fortunate and blessed just to make it to the NBA and play basketball. He lucky he didn't harm himself or somebody else.
You know who's a bust though as a player, especially where he was drafted by the Knicks?
Quentin Grimes.
Kenny Skywalker.
Obi Toppin. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But no, like Kenny Skywalker was drafted fifth overall. And the only thing he ever did was win the slam dunk contest one year.
He had a high top fade though.
He did nothing for the Knicks.
He wore biker shorts though. He turned the game around when Deuce was wearing those when Deuce was wearing Daisy Dukes. Remember when NBA players was wearing the Daisy Duke shorts?
He had some dirty dunks in that one. I'll give him that.
Yeah. We probably should have. If we're talking about who the Knicks missed on draft night, the Steph Curry thing stands out a lot. But in that Steph Curry draft, right behind us, DeMar DeRozan was drafted. We took Jordan Hill instead of DeMar DeRozan.
And then we traded Jordan Hill like mid-season.
Because he was not stable. But in that same draft, I think Drew Holiday, Rajon Rondo, I think somebody like that. There were like 4 other guards we could have took, but we choked and took Jordan Hill. But Quentin Grimes is by far.
Yeah, Frederick Weiss was bad.
But he never played with us though.
Well, that's what makes it bad.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like, but for a first round pick to not even play.
Yeah. Quentin Grimes, and no disrespect to Quentin Grimes fans. But for what, bro, y'all remember when Evan Fournier was just the solidified starter? And Tom Thibodeau said, "Yeah, we're gonna, this is about merit. This training camp is about you gotta earn it, right?" And as soon as Quentin Grimes got that boot off his foot, he was the starter. And we're like, "Yo, how you gonna make Grimes the starter?" And he ain't even went to training camp. You gotta earn it. That's why I was like, "Yeah, Tibbs gotta go, bro." Yeah. I knew both of them couldn't stay, bro. Tibbs and Grimes. Yeah, man. King G, what's good?
Yo,
Hey, Coach, what's the cure all for the what's the cure all for the Knicks offseason? Is there one?
just number one is the right guy for the job. That's gonna leave no stones unturned. Look at every option we have on this roster. Look at every player. Give the young guys a chance to develop and make the most out of this roster. Run the best offense for this personnel, run the best defense for this personnel, and just let these grown men be grown men that have been doing this for a long time. Let these guys play. There ain't much you have to do. And I trust Leon Rose to fill in the gaps that we have right now.
I trust
This has happened before with us. We see all these teams rushing to make moves and make trades, and we're sitting here waiting to see if we get Donovan Mitchell. We wait all summer. We wait we wait for this, we wait for that.
Hey, wait, is this true?
What?
Did you get the alert to your phone?
What?
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it out loud because if it's a troll, I don't want to stir up the chat.
Put it in the chat, the private chat.
Nah, I gotta see. I'm gonna vet it first.
Is it a Knicks thing?
Yeah. Somebody just sent something weird to me about the Knicks and Giannis.
I've been seeing it.
I don't know if this is true or not.
I mean, I've been seeing reports of that stuff coming up again, which I don't know.
Dre, you see something?
No.
Chat, y'all. Does anybody in the chat see anything about the Knicks and Giannis?
Nope.
I mean, just from the clickbaity Knicks guys that I see on YouTube.
There's nothing.
Okay.
And Stephen A. Smith mentioning it on ESPN once in a while.
No, I'm talking about like as of 5 minutes ago.
Nope, nothing.
I mean, I'm looking. Is it on X or IG that you saw it?
No, somebody sent me something.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
I'm not worried about it, man. People send me stuff all the time, bro. Dre, guess who hit me up the other day? Did I tell you?
No, probably not. No.
I'll tell you outside of this because I don't want it to be.
Bet.
I mean, is
Is
I don't
what?
know.
Is what happened?
Is Legion Hoops?
Talking about
Make
Guillermo?
sure it's spelled correctly.
You talking about
Make sure
Guillermo?
that Legion is spelled correctly.
It's a verified one.
You can buy a verification. If it don't have 888,000 followers, it is not the right Legion Hoops.
Yeah, 888,000 followers.
Well, then what did it say? Because I'm looking at it right now. There's nothing on the page.
On June 27th, says the Knicks, Heat, and Warriors are reportedly among the teams interested in Giannis, per New York Post.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's nothing new.
I mean,
No,
that's the only thing I saw.
what I'm seeing is closer than that. What somebody sent me is this damn near ready to be announced.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, and I probably should have said that live, but shit, I'm here at the thing, so.
I mean,
What would a Giannis deal to the Knicks look like, though?
It would either be Josh Hart and OG or McHale and OG for him, or just straight up Cat with draft compensation coming from us and the third team.
Yeah, Brandon Williams, I think this is fake news.
Yeah, I think it's just there's too many moving parts for it to be a thing. At least right now, anyway.
Yeah,
money wise, Josh, McHale, and Deuce.
you in a three-way, you don't have to give up all the money. You can have the third team give up all the money, and you could just give them valuable assets for them to send the stuff to Milwaukee.
Right.
You can give up like 25, and then they can cover the rest, but you send them some real valuable assets, though.
Yeah.
Man, you talking about like would the Washington Wizards actually send Chris Middleton to Milwaukee? You know what I'm saying? And we give them a bunch of young stud players and comparable salary. Do the Wizards have, Dre, would you be able to do that if the Wizards have cap space? Or do you have to, since the Knicks are over the 16
Well, the
people?
Wizards don't have cap space. They basically gave up all their cap space to expire like $100 million the following year.
Oh, yeah, that's
They,
right.
yeah, they're taking on as many bad contracts as possible right now with intention. The only team with cap space is the Nets. I mean, but you can create cap space with trades, but it'll just be too convoluted and difficult right now. And from what like news drip, like the drip feed of news, it's like Giannis is waiting for like the whole free agency thing to shake out to decide what happens.
Yeah,
And
that's the last thing I heard.
and with that, I mean, to this point, Cat got traded 3 days before training camp, so this could very well be an all summer thing for all we know.
Well, the Coach Morning Show on Sunday morning is going to be interesting, especially if something happened overnight.
Yeah. Yep. But I don't see it. But
Yeah,
I mean, I could be wrong. Stranger things have happened and with no warning.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, are the Knicks buttoned up though? Like, can the Knicks be working on this and just keep it buttoned up? I don't think so. Not in New York. I don't think the Knicks are. I don't. And no matter, despite what they do, there's too many people in outlets in New York. You can't hide this from the people if you're the Knicks. What do you think about that, Coach? You think the Knicks are buttoned up, can hide something like this?
I mean, besides the actual coach thing, with our position, if we weren't doing a deal for someone big, the way this draft was and the talent that was in this draft and what we did have, we had opportunities to move up. You saw what was being given away and how some of these teams were moving up the draft so easy.
You saw what Kevin Durant went for?
Yeah, like there was a move for us to make that would have made us a little better. Like if we're staying pat and we didn't do at least just one little thing, like we could have gotten to the first round, the bottom of the first round, and grabbed a rotational player in this draft.
So you think the Knicks are up to something?
They have to be.
Trading for in prime Giannis is different than trading for 37-year-old Durant.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's talking
No.
about they want to go in a different direction.
Oh,
Yeah, like I don't think. I think they must have something possibly brewing, because for them to, in this draft, the way it was falling into place, and with how many we had so many teams leapfrog us, like Indiana, like the Bucks and Cleveland. All these teams were picking in front of us. Players that I would have made our roster too, and maybe made the rotation, and we stayed pat. And I don't. It's not that I'm not saying oh, you have to make a move to show your. I just think we must have something else brewing, and maybe we're waiting to get our coach first before we do it.
Right.
I think they have more than they have a plan A big move and a plan B big move.
Okay, I just got an ESPN alert. Did y'all get an ESPN alert?
for what?
For nothing. This ain't nothing. Nothing. ESPN, stop playing, bro. I'm on pins and needles all of a sudden for no reason.
Ain't nothing gonna happen for you. Not tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Giannis is gonna have another year in his prime where he ain't got enough on his team right now to do anything.
I don't want Giannis.
Yeah, because here's the thing is about Giannis. You think we're going to be hamstrung money wise? We're still not going to be able to get backups or guys around him. We're going to have less guys around him than we would have had around Cat.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, big dog. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't want Giannis. I honestly don't like the idea of trading for anybody that's 6'11" or taller after age 30. Right? It's like trading for a running back that's 29 and a half, 30.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. Right? Now, if the Knicks did it, I wouldn't complain. Right? I wouldn't complain, but at the same time, for me, I saw Curtis Martin. I saw his production go off a cliff. Like, he led the NFL in rushing one year, and the next year he couldn't walk. Right? I mean, I guess that's a part of being a Jets fan, where you get a little something good and then it just turns terrible. I wouldn't know because I like football, but I wouldn't. But the Giannis thing, I don't know, bro.
Well, like I said, the two elephants in the room still are, and we haven't talked about this much tonight.
Coach calling me an elephant, bro. Look at me. I'm sitting down, baby boy. Look at this.
And we mentioned the Mitch part of it a little bit, but we have two guys on our roster that are above average players that make above average salaries. Well, Mitch is probably average salary. They're in the last year of their contract. And all GMs in our league look at those said players and they have to make a decision.
So the decision is extend Mitch Robinson 4 years, right? 4 years, $120 million.
Say that again?
4 years, $120 million, Mitch Robinson.
Mitch is not going to get offered $30 million a year, Freezie. Come on.
You wildin', bro. Did you see what Hartenstein got?
He's a notch or two below Mitch as far as defense. But
I saw what Daniel Gaffer got.
But he is leaps and bounds above Mitch in offensive stuff.
Dre, you remember when we first met?
Exactly. Gafford.
And there's also caveats. We're talking about a guy that's not healthy often.
I get it, but when I first met you and Coach, it was around the same time, right? Vucevic got a contract for $20 million a year, and we were like, "What?" Yeah, now $20 million a year is nothing.
Yeah, but he's 20 and 10, bro.
He also got blocked on a dunk by Bridges.
I know. I'm just saying, Mitch is
safely say this. Mitch Robinson will not get $30 million.
He's like 20.
No, that man.
Someone will offer him.
Bro, what is Steven Adams got? What 16?
Yeah.
Steven Adams got 6. Steven Adams.
Steven Adams got $13 million a year, I think.
Hey, Mitch getting 3 times. Whatever. Steven Adams.
Come on, man.
Daniel Gaffer got.
Gaffer got 20. 3 for 60.
I thought it was 3 for 56, but
that's still 19 and a half, 20, 18, something. Mitch getting 30, bro. Y'all wilding, bro.
He ain't getting 30.
Daniel Gafford. Are we comparing Mitchell Robinson and Daniel Gafford?
Daniel Gafford plays basketball games for the entire year.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. You lost me for a second, and then you got me. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, I understand.
I mean, per game salary, Mitch is right there. I mean,
I legit wouldn't trade Daniel Gafford and Steven Adams for Mitch right now. I wouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. But you're having to leverage the fact that Mitch Robinson has never stayed healthy.
This is the narrative. This shows how delusional Knicks fans are. We're overvaluing Mitch that much.
I said 30. I said
30 is crazy.
I said 30 to be humble, bro.
Bro, Lonzo Ball's only making. Mitch is the Lonzo Ball of centers.
Nah, Coach, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Now Mitch has a cadaver knee.
He gets hurt every year like he does.
I'm not saying I'm talking about if Lonzo Ball was healthy, he'd be making $30 million a year.
If Lonzo Ball was healthy, he'd be making
40.
Yeah. Mitch they might not give him the years, but I can see them doing a 2+1 like
Lonzo Ball is is a point guard version of Mitch on defense. And he's a distributor on offense. And he's only making $10 million.
Mitch, they're going to offer Mitch 3 years, 88, right? With 30,
Who is
30, 28. Yeah.
Then we're never getting anybody.
You're getting Mitch.
I hope Mitch figures out how to score because we ain't gonna get another bucket. Get her? There's ain't gonna be no money left. Yeah, we're gonna be in the second apron.
You think that man? So what if you have, bro? Think about it. So what if you have Mitch, Huck Porty, and Najee and Cat? So what?
We're gonna pay $30 million, almost $30 million for a guy that needs 2 other centers to fill in his other minutes.
You want to win the championship, don't you?
Bro, now you're setting me up to be a Mitch hater again, bro.
Coach, I can't make bro. You're a grown up. You're a smart dude with your own.
I love Mitch.
I'm not trying to make you be anything, bro. I'm not setting you up. Bro, when we first met, I was like, yo, if you come up here and be like, yes or no, sir, you're not coming up here.
What I'm saying is there ain't no way the Freezie I know and the things you've said about him, his shortcomings in all phases, there's no way the Uncle Freezie I know thinks he's worth $30 million.
Nah, I'm talking about the Mitch truthers, the one that believe that man can walk on water. I always talk about them
Flat earthers and Mitch truthers.
and Mitch
Like the same
Truthers.
group.
Yeah. Now, every NBA player has flaws. We know this.
Yeah, I get it.
Every NBA player has flaws.
It's a trap.
And Mitchell Robinson has flaws, right? But so does Cat. So does Brunson.
Yeah.
So does OG. So does Bridges, right? But why can they have great paydays and Mitchell Robinson can't?
Because
He's a second round pick. So was Jalen Brunson.
Because he plays half the time.
Coach, nobody plays at halftime, bro. What are we talking about?
No, I'm talking about half the games.
Oh, now we being funny. Okay.
Look, if Mitch didn't have the injury problems, I wouldn't be having this conversation. I would say yes, he's worth 20, 25.
That man getting 30, bro. He might get more than 30.
Oh man. If he shot 60% from the free throw line and had a little bit of offensive bag, I'd say yeah, but for being strictly D, pause, that ain't a thing anymore that they pay that much. But and it's gonna hamstring us even more. We can't pay Mikal and Mitch. That's just real.
Actually?
Oh, we can, but we're gonna have to go way over the apron, and then we can't get nobody else after that.
Oh, here come the calculator, guys. That's...
I mean, technically, yes, we can sign them. We can go way over the cap if we want, but we ain't getting nobody else.
My thing is this, Coach. I don't want to pay a center money, period. Right? I would rather draft a guy and play him 4 years, let him hit free agency and leave. But since you're paying the center position, you got to pay at a premium. This is the route the Knicks front office chose. I didn't choose it. Dre, you remember when I was like, yo, hey, man, I'm not paying the center such and such. Every 3 years, I'm drafting the center so that when he becomes a free agent, hey, man, listen, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
But since we're taking this route here where we're paying a premium for the center position, you're going to have to pay Mitch, bro.
That's fair.
$75 million in centers, bro. No.
Nah.
Well, you're talking about $80 million in center.
About $85 million in center.
In a league that don't count on the center no more.
But the thing is, I didn't choose this route, though, Coach.
Oh.
The Knicks chose this route.
You just chose to set me up to be the Mitch Devil.
Man.
The Mitch Devil. I don't care. I'm gonna stand on my words, and when things don't work out, I'm gonna be the one that said I told you so.
I don't know why y'all don't like Mitch, bro.
I think Mitch did great in the playoffs.
And Josh Hart. 7 triple doubles for $20 million. Right? And we're like, nah, man, that ain't good enough. You gotta have 12 triple doubles for $20 million. Really?
Did he have a triple double when it mattered?
That man had more triple doubles in one season than Allen Iverson had in his career.
When did the triple double matter that he had?
When the Knicks make the Eastern Conference Finals.
The same guy played his worst basketball in the series we needed him the most.
I would tell you that Mitchell Robinson is the reason why we made the Eastern Conference Finals.
God, you are just...
The two guys you mentioned, Bridges.
You remind me, you're the king throwing out gold coins to the peasants over the man.
That's
on,
old
man.
bread, not old coins, old bread. That's what got that lady head.
No, you throwing out coins. You are back on the Mitch.
I've never been off the Mitch bandwagon, bro. It's the Mitch fan bandwagon is the one that I refuse to get on, bro.
No, we're all. I'm on the bandwagon of every player on the team, but I'm gonna hold every guy on the team accountable if they do something wrong or it's business.
Not for me. For me, it's about fandom. For me, it's about fandom, bro.
I want iHeart back then. It was about fandom.
And for me, it's about being a fan. Like I don't care. Like I'm not putting on a jersey for somebody in their accounting department, bro.
I've never met a fan base that goes this far out of their way for someone who's averaged 45 games a year and hasn't even started half those games too.
He got back March 1st and stayed healthy the whole time, all the way through May 31st.
All 11 games in the regular season, he made it through.
Yeah, and the playoffs.
How many games was that? 30?
About 30.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad he was healthy.
Dre, why y'all hate Mitch and Josh Hart, bro?
I don't hate nobody.
Not hate like that, you know what I mean? I'm talking about hate in the way people talk nowadays.
I think there's a place for Mitch, provided he stays healthy. I don't value what Josh does.
Yeah. Like Mitch on a value like the contract he's on now, I'm all in. But now when you start talking, he's going to be making more than 18, 20 million. I'm out.
Coach, you can't keep paying this guy these grand poobah contracts, bro. You got to pay that man. That man has been on brand Nubian he's been on those 360.
If he's averaged 60 to 65 games a year and had 1 ounce of improvement offensively in the how many years you been in the league now? 7?
Hey, did you ever consider,
I would be all in giving him 25 million.
Mitchell Robinson has never had an injury that didn't happen on the floor and you saw it. Every time you saw Mitch get hurt, you saw it on the floor hustling. And what Knicks fans ask, and this is hypocritical, and I'm not calling Coach a hypocrite, I'm just saying that this take is hypocritical.
I see an athlete.
Mitch being hurt, Mitch being injured on the floor for giving 100%, and then saying, all I ask from the players is for them to give 100%. And then when they give 100% and they get hurt or somebody injures them, then we're saying, well, he didn't play. Well, he gave 100%.
He didn't get,
and he got injured.
He wasn't for no. See, now you're getting in the hive that says almost all the times got hurt. Someone hurt him. No, he has a flaw in his genetic makeup. He gets hurt on plays that normal athletes don't always get hurt. Okay, yes, a lot of them were freak accidents. I get it, but Jalen Brunson has had more tweaks of his ankles than Mitch has. Mitch is a 7-foot player. He's heavy. He's a big dude, and genetically, those guys, they're injury prone. It happens. And some are usually more injury prone than others.
Do you want the players to give you 100% of what? You want them to lay it all out there on the floor, right?
Yeah, but not if they can. He can't. If every time he gives 100%, he gets hurt, then he can't give 100%. Freezie? Think about it.
Nah, I don't want to think about that. I want to think about a player giving 100% and contributing to his team. And when it comes time to pay said player, pay him fair market value. Don't put him in a 360 deal. Mitch didn't get hurt racing cars, bro. He got hurt on the basketball floor.
I understand that, but fair market value for a grossly below average, non-modern type center who is an elite defender. Yes, fair market value is not. He's a dinosaur. He's not even what the NBA wants in full-time centers anymore. If he was Freezie, then the 6 trades we tried to put him in, the other teams would have accepted those trades and accepted him in the trade. Why did they deny all those trades?
I'm not sure, bro. All I'm saying is Mitchell Robinson. For those that say Mitch is always hurt, you never heard about Mitch getting hurt in practice, or Mitch getting hurt at the club, or Mitch got hurt riding horses. Mitch always gets injured in effort plays. And if you don't want guys that are going to give you complete effort all the time, then we can't talk about any player, bro.
You're just going to keep talking in circles about this and keep
this is not a circle.
Back.
This is not a circle.
You can't just give someone a hall pass because they try hard all the time. And if they can't be counted on, if I have a chronic injury that will never heal, well, Willie tries hard, so we're going to keep him. You can't do it.
Is it so? Just to clarify the circle thing, is this not the first time you heard me say that Mitchell Robinson got hurt on the floor due to effort? This is the first time you heard me say that, right? It's not repetitive, right?
You've never had to say it because I've never doubted that. I didn't say like, "Oh, this guy he stubbed his toe."
But it's the first time you heard. But it's the first time you heard me say it. So. You said talking in circles. I'm just clarifying that I'm not talking in a circle about Mitch.
Whatever.
He got hurt. He gets hurt trying hard.
Okay, so you want Embiid then?
Are you asking me? Are you asking me? Do I want a former league MVP?
Is he the league MVP if he don't play though? That's the point I'm getting at. Like, what are we talking about here? Grant Hill?
You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad when they cut that check.
Brandon Roy. I mean, Greg Oden. Sam Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Walton. Like them guys. You think all them guys tried hard, but eventually they became unplayable. And they weren't paid anymore because they couldn't play anymore because they couldn't physically do it. They couldn't be available.
It happens, and they retire.
And it's not a knock on him at any personal level or his ability. It's just you can't pay a $30 million for someone who's that much of a red flag. It's not like he's putting up cat numbers.
Is he healthy right now, though? Yes. Did he help you get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
No.
Yes. He was there. He helped you get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, he was on the team and he helped. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You win.
I know because I'm Uncle Freezie.
I know. Yep.
This is what I do. So the thing
congratulations. You just got a $30 million ambulance ride.
Okay. Either way, he or Bridges, both of the guys that you mentioned, right? Both are gonna get more than what Knicks fans are expecting them to take, right? As you got to pay these guys market value. These dudes are not. Mitchell Robinson already took 2 hometown discounts. When is Mitch going to get paid? Mitch is going to want his money. He's been taking discounts for years. Mikal Bridges? Why would Mikal Bridges take a discount when there are other wing players that are half the player and he is that are making 37?
We're the only one that's going to pay Mitch. No one else wants him. They would have grabbed him by now. Am I the only one that wants to admit that they were denied trades? How many trades he was denied in? Like, we look over this shit all the time. and no one wants to talk about it.
About what? About Mitch being injured?
How many times Mitch was included in a trade and the other team said no? We want someone else.
You talking about like Minnesota?
That's not the only time. When the RJ thing was happening for OG, but Mitch was mentioned in those trades. The trades with for Donovan Mitchell, he was mentioned in. He was mentioned in a lot of those trades as pieces of the trade, and the other team said no.
Yeah, clearly Minnesota wouldn't want him, right? Why would they want Mitchell Robinson and they have Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid?
Look, I don't know. I'm saying no one's going to pay Mitchell Robinson $25 to $30 million. Nobody.
Book it.
I will book it.
Book it.
Whoever does is going to another Gordon Hayward deal.
Anybody else? Anybody watch the draft? Did y'all see how many young Mitchell Robinson archetype guys they drafted this year in the draft? Every other draft pick was a beige dude that tries to do what Mitch does.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's what it seemed like. That might be hyperbole, but it seemed that way.
I don't know, man. I just
you gotta trust me on it, bro. I be right about a lot of stuff, bro.
Look, I agree with you 99% of the time. I can't on this one.
All right.
I don't give a damn who likes me or not about it. Y'all can all go to hell in my eyes.
You think and you telling me to go to hell just over the Mitch point?
No, anyone that's
kind of friend.
No, any people that are gonna attack me, attack my credibility, and attack me on a personal level because I'm hurting.
I didn't attack you on no personal level. I just said Mitch getting 30
million. You know who I'm talking about? All the
Yahoo. You had a meltdown. You had a meltdown because Mitch getting 30 million.
It didn't meltdown. I'm just being real. I'm having the same meltdown from the people that don't like Cat and say that him and Brunson suck and don't play defense and we can't win with them. The same mentality of those dummies that say that stuff.
Mitch is getting 30 million.
If you pay Mitch 30, you can't give Mikal his 40.
Yeah. You gotta pay Bridges this 40, bro.
I saw a lot of centers drop in the draft further than they should have been.
Mitch was a second round pick.
I know.
Yeah.
If I took a poll right now with some of these mental giants, would you rather keep Cat or Bridges or Mitch and Deuce? I bet you half of these dummies would say Mitch and Deuce, bro. That's how far they're twisted about it.
I would like to say that the folks aren't dummies, but at the same time,
the ones that prefer Mitch and Deuce over Cat and Brunson or Cat and Bridges, yeah, I'm sorry, you're dummies. I'm just being real. That's just my opinion. They're entitled to their opinion. I'm entitled to mine. If that makes me heated, which I'm not even fired up. I'm like not even mad. It's hilarious that we're considering giving him that much. Actually, only you are. I don't know who. How much do you think he's worth, Dre? Be honest. Wake up.
Me, I think Mitch is more than 30. I think they'll settle for 30. I think Mitch wants like 4 years, 130 million. But I think they'll settle for like 3 years, 90 million.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Bro, the salary cap go up every year.
I wouldn't even mind, bro, paying him that if the situation was different.
If Mitch could get 30 million on the open market, then the front office would tell him to go get it. To be absolutely honest with you. But if no one else is going to do that, why would we do that?
The only thing with Mitchell Robinson, this is my only thing with Mitch, and this is not even a Mitch thing. This is an archetype thing. Generally, centers that come into the league that jump out of the gym and depend on athleticism, by the time they get to a certain age and the athleticism starts to go away, then they tend to be not as valuable.
Capella.
Yeah, Capella types, DeAndre Jordan, JaVale McGee, the hyper athletic centers that, so Wise is in the building. Wise says 3 years. Man, get out of here. Yo, cats be mad disrespectful when it comes to Mitchell Robinson, bro. I'm talking 3 years, 50 million. You can't be real. You can tell where the real Mitch fans at. You know what I'm saying? Like 3 years, 50 million. Man, I'm not up for it. Right? Not right now. Now that coach called me a dummy, bro, I ain't up for the trolling, bro.
So you think that Mitch and Deuce, you would keep them besides Cat and Bridges? That's why I was calling them the dummies.
No, come on, man. Come on, man. We gotta relax.
Well, that's so 30 million would put him the same salary as Bam Adebayo, the 7th highest paid center in the league.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what Bam does that's special. Stay healthy. So Bam does stay healthy.
Bam is a better scorer, a better passer, a better switch defender. Yeah, and stay healthy. Is Bam worth $53 million? Probably not.
No, he ain't worth though.
But he's only getting 32 million. And he averaged 18, 9.6, and 4.3.
Nah, Bam is a better player than Mitch. And a championship level offense and defense.
He's a two-way player.
I honestly believe, and this is my opinion, and I know people don't agree with me when I say certain things because of it's cool for people to argue 24/7. We're in the argue culture, right? I think Mitchell Robinson is open on 80% of the screens and rolls that he sets going to the rim. I saw the player. I pointed it out to Coach one night. I was like, Coach, this man, once he opens up away from after he rubs the defender off, he is open in those first 2 steps, right? And those first 2 steps after that, our guards or pick and roll handlers are trying to sauce and beat a defender. Which tells me, even if you're open and the passer can't see you, you're not really open. Right? I mean, if you're, I saw, Coach, you remember LeBron Coles? I saw LeBron Coles against the Detroit Lions. I saw LeBron Coles run by a DB and Chad Pennington didn't throw it. You know why? Because anything over 45 yards, Chad Pennington can't get it there. So even if you got like a 7-yard, if you open about 5 yards, it don't matter. I can't even remember who they played for. I think it was the Redskins or somebody. LeBron Coles played for the Redskins, right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Yeah. So it might have been Chad Pennington and LeBron Coles with the Redskins or whatever it is. I can't remember.
Well, it was with the Knicks. I mean, the Jets.
The Jets.
Oh, well, that's the reason why right there. Chad Pennington probably didn't have time to throw it.
That was a layup.
Mitch Robinson, to me, can score in double digits at least if you got him the ball within the flow of an offense. It's the same thing with Bridges. When you're not in a flow of an offense, and then you just kick it out to somebody, and then they have to shoot it, they don't get the sauce.
Well, I'll frame it like this, Freezie. If Mitch played 30-plus minutes like a $30 million center would, like Rudy Gobert,
Right.
he would get 10 points a game, bare minimum. But he doesn't play that many minutes.
Double-digit rebounds.
Yeah, but he doesn't play that many minutes to even get the volume.
You're telling me Mitch is a bench player?
Say it again?
You're telling me Mitch is a bench player?
No, Mitch is a starter, but he's not a 33-minute per game player. His body can't handle it.
Oh.
And that's usually when you're paying a center $30+ million, you're wanting that center to play more than 30 minutes a night. And when Mitch clears 30 minutes, he probably averages more than 10 points a game. He just doesn't do that because he physically can't. We see him get gassed repeatedly when he's asked to play more minutes.
Because he gives you everything that he has, bro.
You think Rudy Gobert doesn't give you everything he has on defense?
But I'm not talking about Rudy Gobert. I'm talking about Mitch.
And I'm saying those guys that are guys that get paid $30 million, centers.
Okay.
$30 million centers are expected to give you whatever they have for 30+ minutes, at least. And Mitch has never averaged more than 25 minutes a game in his life, in his NBA career, that is.
I mean, this season he averaged 27. Like, his points per game have gone down. He averaged 9.7 his second year in the league. And it's gone down every year since.
Yeah, because he played with past first point guards, remember?
Yeah.
Elfrid Payton. Yeah, I remember Elfrid Payton used to throw Mitch to lob just about all game. But Elfrid Payton couldn't shoot.
RJ used to throw him lobs.
All the time, bro.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny to that? Mikal Bridges threw Mitch a few lobs, but because Mitch is always hurt, he never got ingrained into the offense from the jump, so we could never work in parts of that game. Like, Mikal Bridges is a very good passer to lob threats. That's what he did when he was at the Nets as a pick and roll guy. Even as a role player, he was a decent enough guy where he'd get lob threats off. But because Mitch missed virtually 75% of the season, and because we don't really practice during the season, you couldn't really add that part or that dynamic to our offense.
We never threatened the rim protector. You notice that? With Tibbs, we never threatened
No.
the rim protector. The rim protector was not in jeopardy having to make a decision whether to stay at the rim or come out and contest. Like teams do Cat like that all the time. And we're like, Cat is always slow to react. It's because teams put him in jeopardy. They show him one thing and threaten the backside. And then now it's like, you got to make the decision. It's the reason why teams run the pick and roll in the first place.
Well, the part of the reason why you didn't threaten him is because the rim protector would be on Josh, and Josh is playing 40 minutes. So the rim protector is used as a help defender instead of him being in the action, putting him in jeopardy. That rim protector is coming over like Luke Cornett, making him look like Dikembe Mutombo.
Josh is stopping Mitch from getting paid. Damn it, Josh.
I mean, he is, actually. Some of it is.
Reason why Mitchell Robinson is not getting bread. Because Mitch could be a 13 and 11 player, but Josh Hart has Hartenstein guarding him, and they have a smaller guy fronting Mitch with a rotation guy coming to be the backside guy on Mitch. And since that's covered up, Josh Hart has a two-way goal on Porzingis and won't take it.
Basically.
Won't even shoot it.
That if you have a guy cheating off to take away lob threats or any drive in the paint,
Yeah.
well, that's gonna completely hinder your pick and roll offense, which is what we've seen since January.
Oh boy.
It hinders your pick and pop. It hinders your short roll. It hinders your above the rim vertical spacing. It is what it is.
Yeah, there's 7 degrees of Joshuration. Everything leads to Josh eventually. All roads lead to Josh.
All roads.
I didn't say anything that would. I didn't say anything that you guys couldn't see with your eyes, man.
I know. Trust me. Josh has fallen out of favor. Me too, man. I'm over it. I've really taken a hard look at Josh this year, a lot more than I normally have. I couldn't help it. He was always on the damn court, so I really got to see him a lot. But I made it a conscious effort to watch him off ball when the ball wasn't around him, on defense when he was off ball. Like, I watched him a lot, and that dude did some weird stuff, bro.
Yeah, Coach, you're right, bro. That getting at the pinch post, jumping in the air, doing a 360, and then finding somebody when you're in the air and then telegraphing a pass.
Yeah.
Yo, you remember the inbound where he just crossed the line and then threw it last minute straight to the Boston Celtics?
Yeah.
That man threw 5 lobs and a half, and they all got picked off.
Now, I'm not doubting 1 second the dude is a tryhard. He's that annoying ass dude at the rec center that's all up in your business all the time.
Hey, Bo guy.
And hustling. Yeah, like, hey, buddy, I'm right here. Hey.
Yeah. Like,
he hustles, bro. Like, I'm not. You want to talk about a guy that gives you 100%? He gives 100%. I'm not down to one bit.
Next year, Josh Hart's is up for an extension.
I think a lot of the issues with Josh comes down to us having poor discipline offensively in general. We have poor floor balancing. That's not a Josh issue. That's a Tibbs issue.
Yeah.
I want a coach that's going to have, well, number one, the intelligence to know we can't have Jalen Brunson be the end-all, be-all offensively. And then the same coach also has to be a coach to have the balls to tell them, hey, Jalen, pass the ball. Stop dribbling. 2 dribbles and either shoot it or pass it to somebody. Preferably pass first. But I'm not saying Brunson's got to be a pass-first point guard, but he needs to pass if someone's open or it's advantageous for that possession. Can't be looking people off.
Right.
Doing crossovers and up and unders. And now, once his foot steps in the paint, I don't mind him taking a shot. Now, if he's getting like really swallowed up, if he does a little quick pass to someone that's cutting, I'm down for that too, obviously. But I think whoever the next coach is will be making sure that happens. Look, like, out of all the guys that they're talking about, each one of the coaches that might get the job, at least that we know of in the public as being mentioned, are going to make sure of that.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. Hey, well, that's all we got, everybody. That's all I got. So we'll wrap right here. I was talking to Coach about an idea we had. I don't know. I'll talk to Coach about it in a little bit. But thank you, everybody, for coming through and rocking with us. I appreciate y'all. X, stand up. X trying to take over this thing. X is in the building. just about half the people watching are watching from X.
Yes, sir.
Salute to everybody on X. Thank you, YouTube folks, man. We appreciate y'all. Great content soon come, man. We're gonna get out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. That like button.